Thank you. Peace and love. Peace and love.
What's good, everybody? Uh-oh. Camera's off, of course. Because why wouldn't it be? Hey, there we go. Good morning, beautiful people. Good bright and early morning. Hope we're doing well. Hope everybody's feeling good. Feeling good, looking good. If you're watching right now live on Twitch, welcome in. If you're watching the VOD later over on YouTube, welcome in. We're glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. Checkpoint Church, Church for Nerds, Geeks, and Gamers. Streaming here on Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Schedule changing up next week. New schedule. What's up, Mayfly? How we doing? What's everybody drinking this morning? Anybody have some coffee? Who's drinking tea? I have run out of creamer at my house, so I'm having to go to the powdered. No bueno. Cherry vanilla Coke. Hey, that's a way to take your morning. That is a way. Not a coffee drinker, Mayfly, or are you just feeling soda this morning? Needing the burn. Needing the burn of some caffeine. Coffee life. Don't have any coffee. Oh, that's the saddest sentence I've ever read. You know, they always say, like, what's the saddest sentence ever written in history? I think it was that. I think it's that one. Yeah, I heard deep down. That was a visceral pain. Somebody get Mayfly some coffee. Working from home and we don't have a coffee maker yet. Ah, yes. Yeah, I think I remember reading in some of your, it was either like question of the day or something that you had moved recently. Congratulations on the move. Our boxes unpacked. Just no coffee maker, or are y'all still that early in the phrase? I think we bought a house. Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. That's so exciting. Houses are fun. We're technically in the first house that we bought because in the ministry, of course, you typically get a parsonage, and so we've always done parsonage life. And that was kind of our apartment life because we never had apartments because we always had a parsonage to go to. And so why would we go to an apartment? So we kind of bypassed that phase. I had one apartment at the end of college, my final year of college. My dad ran the numbers and was like, I can get you a really nice apartment for way less money than we're spending at your college. And so we made it work. We found a way. And it was so great. It was really fun. I enjoyed apartment living. As somebody that doesn't like to mow the lawn, apartment living was kind of a dream, not gonna lie. But then I just married someone that does love to mow the grass. And so now I don't have to do it, and I get a beautiful home. It's a win-win. It's a win-win-win. Folks, we got a great day planned. We got a lot of exciting stuff. We're going to start the day with TWIG, I'm pretty sure. And then we'll do our big announcement after TWIG. And then after that, we're going to play a new game. A new Vigi game. For those of you that do not know and do not keep up with the trend of indie gaming, today is the first day of Ludo Narracon. Starting at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific today. They're going to start with, they're going to have 4 days worth of panels and discussions and interviews and exhibitors. I did apply for a press pass. I haven't heard back yet, so we'll see. We'll see if I get a press pass to play any games. If I do get a press pass in time, then I'm thinking tomorrow during one of the hours of our checkathon, which, spoiler alert, that is our announcement today, so whoopsie-daisy. One of those hours during the checkathon, I'll probably play some indie games that I got access to with the press pass. If we do not, then we'll play something else. But in honor of Ludonarracon, we're going to be playing a True Blue indie today. True Blue indie called Melon Journey. Familiar with Melon Journey? Melon Journey is an itch.io, I don't even know if it's RPG Maker. It was almost like a Game Boy Maker because it was super green. That came out in like 2012. And got some minimal acclaim along the way. And then decided to do a remaster and reboot and additional story content and re-release itself as Melon Journey Bittersweet Memories, I think. And that came out like a couple weeks ago, and so we're gonna play that. Should be fun. Should be fun. Borrowing a lawnmower from my coworker. Yep. That is the life. One of our parsonages had a red snapper lawnmower. Which is like an ancient, like 80s lawnmower. And we could never find parts for it. Every time something would break, we would have to come up with some kind of like questionable rig because we couldn't actually do the thing because it was so ancient. It was so old. But man, that red snapper ran like nobody's business. No, it is funny. The older stuff works really well. You just can't find the parts to fix it anymore, which I think that'll preach. I think that'll preach. The older parts work really well. Or the older models work well, but you just can't find the parts to replace them. All right, getting our Jeopardies. Once we see our pre-rolls, we'll get it going. Fiance is going to be the one mowing. Yeah, it was a good deal with us. Having someone that like wants to mow is all the difference. I very much like in the traditional complementarian view of household roles, which I disagree with. I'm very much the housewife stereotype. I do the cooking. I don't do all the cleaning. We definitely share cleaning, but I do all the cooking and I do all the laundry. Those are my chores that I enjoy doing. And so I do them. Whereas my wife prefers the traditional husband chores of mowing the lawn, and that's really the only one. Like I take the trash. Is that a manly chore to take the trash? It's so gross. Ay, gender roles. Gross. Well, whoever does whatever, we make a good team. That was actually, so our question of the day today over on the Discord had to do with our past nerdy sermon on Hell's Paradise. And the question was, if you were in that situation, would you try to team up? Would you try to go solo? Would you try to run away? And I said I would do team up. And what I thought about saying was, because I know how awesome it is to be in a team, because my wife and I really are a congruent team. Like we talk about that often. We always talk about how we just make a really good team, and you kind of have to, especially whenever you have two kids. Like, two is an army, right? I mean, that's an equal 1-for-1. So one of us always has to be taking care of one of the kids, and so that's just the reality. But thank goodness we do make a good team. I definitely know some people that are still in that complementarian lifestyle, where the wife does all the work for the kids and the house and the food and all that stuff, and it's not a happy life. I do not know how that lifestyle could ever work. Thankful that we don't have to worry about it. All right, let's do our Jeopardy. Got 3 Jeopardy prompts for you today. If you've never played Jeopardy with us before, the way that this game works is I will read off the category, how many points it's worth, and then the actual answer. You do not have to answer in the form of a question. You just have to come up with what you believe to be the correct answer. We're not sticklers. We just want to have fun and enjoy ourselves during this time. So we're going to start with our first prompt today. Category is old school movies. Oh, this hurts. This is not an old school movie. I don't like this category. I hope this is the only one of this category that we have to do. Old school movies for 1,000 points. In 1998, this actor was the water boy for South Central Louisiana State until he became a tackling machine on the gridiron. I don't like this question. I don't like this question. I don't like that it's considered an old school movie. This is not old. It sure is, Marin. It sure is Adam Sandler, and I resent that that's considered old. Waterboy? Waterboy? Come on! Mom said. That cannot. It's not allowed. All right. Next category. Authors born and died for 800 points. 800 points on the board here. The category is authors born and died. The answer, this little woman was born in Germantown, Pennsylvania in 1832 and died in Boston in 1888. This little woman was born in Germantown, Pennsylvania in 1832 and died in Boston in 1888. I'm gonna give it to you. It is Louisa May Alcott, but you got 66% of her name, but yes. Marin coming out of nowhere for the sweep here. Last question worth 2,000 points. 2,000 points. Category remains the same, authors born and died. For the maximum amount of points that we allow, 2,000 points. The answer, Dublin born in 1882, he died in Zurich in 1941. Dublin born in 1882, he died in Zurich in 1941. Hey, yo! What's up, Cameron plus Deanna? Oh my goodness, y'all went a little late today. Welcome in, Raiders. Good morning, good morning. Well, I'll read off the prompt again for you if you'd like to answer. The category is authors born and died for 2,000 points. Dublin born in 1882. He died in Zurich in 1941. What's your knowledge of authors that died in 1941? It is not Keats. Good guess. Keats definitely did not live that long. If I recall correctly, Keats died pretty young. Was at the end of a solo board game, didn't want to stop without scoring. Oh, I got you. I saw you're playing Parks. That's very fun. Very fun. I have a copy of Trails that has gone unplayed for months and months and months. I just want to play it so bad. My wife and I were literally about to play it whenever something came up last week on vacation. I'm gonna turn on the timer. This is a tough one. So we're gonna give you guys another minute and a half. 3:30, we're calling it. Didn't miss announcement, did I? You did not. We'll do it right after Jeopardy before Twig. It's a fun game. This is my first time playing solo. Rock on. All right, category is one last time for the final minute. Authors born and died for 2,000 points. Dublin born in 1882. He died in Zurich in 1941. I think it's Zurich. Is it Zurich? Surely it's Zurich. I'll admit my pronunciation may not always be perfect. "45 seconds on the clock. We're stopping at 3:30. 2,000 points may go to no one. Zurich? Zurich? Is it that Z? Is that what it is? It's the ooh that I'm not getting. Zurich? At least I got the ick. I'll take it. Zurich. I gave it a little southern twang. Zurich. Got nothing else. Hey, that's all good. You will know this author. This is a well-known author. But it's tough. This is a tough one. This is worth 2,000 points. They're not always worth 2,000 points. Sometimes you get Adam Sandler as your answer. 2, 1. It is James Joyce. James Joyce. A tough one. Let's read off our heading on down to Zurich, y'all. Yep, that's right. Our top 3, which this will be changing tomorrow, I'm sure. I hope. I'm rooting for the rest of the team to get some points and dethrone one of these top 3. Third place is Wizened Lemur with 9,800 points. Second place is Zando Calrissian with 22,500 points. And in first place is Sneaky Pigs with 36,200 points. With that, what better time to make our announcement? Because I just said that they'd be changing. The answer, or the question is why? Why will they be changing? Well, my friends, that is because tomorrow, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, Friday, is going to be our Checkathon! Ooga, ooga, that's right. The 6th ever Checkathon is happening tomorrow at 4 o'clock. If you've never been a part of a Checkathon, that is a 8-hour charity stream that we do every quarter here at Checkpoint Church. And we put together a pretty fun show of all sorts of things going on every single hour, raising support for a specific charity. This time, we're actually going to be raising for one of our friends and one of our fellow nerd ministries here online, Crossfire Faith in Gaming. They are doing a ministry camp, a nerd gamer ministry camp. This summer. I'll pull up all the information here in just a minute. There will be plenty of trivia. We got lots of stuff going on. I'll say more about that in a moment, but Crossfire Faithless Gaming is a nerd ministry out of Colorado, and they are going to be doing a nerd and gaming ministry week-long camp for those of ages 13 to 18, if I recall correctly. We'll look at all that information here in a moment. This is incredibly exciting. This is groundbreaking. This is something that I totally support as a nerd minister and as someone that believes in this cause, as somebody that grew up going to camp and wishing that I could talk about video games and the things that I loved there. This is like my dream, and I love to see it. So this will be happening tomorrow, 8 hours. We're going to set ourselves a goal of, for me, I'm going to say let's get to $700 tomorrow. That's my hope. And the reason I say $700 is because this camp costs $350 per camper. Remember, they're there for the entire week. $350 is a lot of money, especially for somebody that's unable to afford it. So I want Checkpoint Church to support 2 kids. 2 kids! I want us to send 2 kids to a gaming nerd ministry camp. I hope that feels doable, and I think that is something that we will be fully capable of doing tomorrow for 8 hours. I will be setting up some kind of link where you'll be able to donate to. We'll make sure that all of this is totally doable and is something that is exciting for all of us as a part of that. But the real question you might be asking is what actually we're going to be doing there, and the answer is so much. I'm still pinning down the actual details, so I'm not going to drop anything on the screen as of right now, but you can rest assured that we are going to have so much happening over the course of those 8 hours. Every single donation, so if you give $1, you will get your name on the Checkathon t-shirt and know that you are making a chip in the stone going towards the Crossfire event. Every $25, we'll be doing a new Jeopardy prompt. That's a lot of Jeopardy prompts. So we will be booking through some Jeopardy prompts. I'm hopeful that, see, we're on April 22nd here. My goal is that we not only catch up with May the 5th, but that we bypass May the 5th, that we get way past it. I think it'd be hilarious if I run out of Jeopardy questions early this year because we did so many of them at the Checkathon. $25 is a crazy low barrier of entry, so I'm super excited to see how that goes. Every $50, we'll do a thing called Do You Know Nate? That's where we actually gamba channel points here on the channel with a question from the Do You Know Me tabletop game. Every $75, we'll have a celebrity reading poetry. You guys get to pick the celebrity, and I will try my best to imitate them. Every $100, you'll get a page out of the Mirror Mural, and every $250, I will find a random quiz on like a Quizlet site or whatever and try and answer it. Along with that, we have our usual goals of unlocking Generation 8. Can you believe that? We're in the Galar region. Gen 8 of our stream avatars. $500, I will put on the Monokuma onesie. And at $750, I will play that game. We haven't yet decided what that game is, but if you'd like to vote, join our Discord and go vote on whatever that game should be. The current running trend is some kind of Souls game. That always tends to be the way that it goes. So be sure to go vote and let me know what you want to see there. Folks, we've got special guests. We've got multiplayer games. We've got, I'm going to be building and giving away a deck of Pokemon cards. I'm just saying, if you want free Pokemon cards, you need to be there. If we reach a goal of $1,000, I'll give away 5 Checkpoint Church t-shirts. So you need to be there. You need to enter that giveaway. Even if you can only pop in for 5 minutes, pop in for those 5 minutes, give your donation, enter your name into the giveaway, and be a part of that. And you could win yourself either Pokemon cards or a t-shirt. So that's pretty exciting stuff going on. Let's see, is there anything else that needs to be mentioned right here, right now? There's also going to be some pretty ridiculous things that I'm going to be doing as a, since this is going to be about camp, I'm going to be theming all of it around summer camp and summer camp games. So I will be playing some summer camp games in the room next door, and we'll see how that goes, because they're very messy games. They're very messy games. So that will be coming up soon. And tomorrow, be there or be square, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 hours. We will be raising money and supporting an awesome ministry while we're at it. I'm going to throw over real quick. Boink. Uh-oh, where am I? I don't know where I am. There I am. Okay, we're going to be pulling this up real quick. Okay, so this is the camp in mention. This is a Crossfire Faith Plus Gaming, Boulder Spirit Foundation teaming up to present Crossfire Camp from July 16th through 21st of this year in Denver, Colorado. We'll click on some of the information about it so that you can get excited and know more about what's going to be happening at this camp, and if this is something you want to support. So this is David Petty, who will be joining us at some point tomorrow night to talk about the camp and maybe play some games with us. This is their little blurb. Crossfire Camp is not your grandparents' camp. Crossfire will be a whole new camp for a whole new generation of camper. At Crossfire Camp, we will play games, explore our nerdy side, deepen our faith, and explore the place where our faith and our love of nerd geek game culture combine. Check out our schedule below. Russ will also be at the camp. He will not be joining us tomorrow as he'll be out of town. So those are some of the counselors. We may also have some people from Checkpoint that'll be serving as counselors of this. So hey, just saying, it's going to be at this church as well as this gaming center in that time. Your grandmother is very much invited. It's very much invited. She just has to know that she'll feel out of place. Or maybe not. Maybe she'll feel totally in place. She'll feel better about this than any camp so far. So here you go. Sunday through Thursday. It's going to kick off on Sunday with all these awesome things going on. There's going to be campfires every single night. There are going to be morning check-ins and faith times. There are going to be gaming times. There's going to be some programming in there. There's going to be dinner together. There's going to be a lot of bonding time and a lot of good time amongst a bunch of gamers. I'm sure it's going to be very smelly. It's going to be very fun. They're going to be very sleep deprived, and it's going to be such a great time. I'm so excited about this. I wish that I could be there. I don't think there's any feasible way that I will be there, but if this goes well, if Crossfire gets enough support and is able to continue this kind of initiative going forward, then hey, maybe we'll have one in North Carolina. I'm just saying, maybe Checkpoint and Crossfire can team up for one in North Carolina, and we'll keep it going and keep that love sharing on, supporting the next generation of gamers. Folks, if you want to support the next generation of gamers tomorrow night, 4 p.m. until midnight Eastern Time, help us raise at least $700 to support 2 campers going to this. We'll have tons of activities, tons of things going on, tons of prizes and things to encourage you to give, and to not only give, but to have fun while doing it. But that is our ultimate goal, is what I just showed you. We want to support those kids. We want to love them, and we want to let them know that Jesus loves them, and that we love them here at Checkpoint, and that we believe that they matter, and that gamers matter even at camp. So there we go. So that is the big announcement. Woo! That's the fun stuff. So please be there. Do not miss out. Tomorrow night, 4 o'clock. Be there. Let's have fun. It'll be a great time. I always enjoy our checkathons. It's been a while. We do one every quarter, and I have missed it. I always miss it. If we could do one every month, we would, but then I feel like that would be tough. That'd be tough. Let's see, I don't want to miss anything that I didn't read during the time. Welcome in, Big Doggo. We're glad you're here. Wit made a joke. Better thaw on yourself before you check yourself. I love it. And Marin says, I hope you do a Christopher Walken. It's definitely in there. It's in the list. So if we do get celebs and people don't have a recommendation of who they want to hear me try to impersonate, then you can just do ! celeb and it'll pull up a random one. So those are always options. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and get queued up for Twig. And we're going to get right into Twig. And then we're going to go straight from Twig, probably into our break. And then we're going to go straight from our break into our game for the rest of stream. And folks, remember, I mean, not counting the checkathon because it's kind of its own thing, this is our last stream of this nature until the schedule change. So that's pretty exciting. New schedule starts up next Monday. Why does my hair look this way? Huh. Cowlick looking wild today. Cowlick looking absolutely wild. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. People don't come here for my hair. If they do, then they have a rough reality check coming. 1 minute mystery and trivia. That sounds good. We'll do that, Marin, and then I probably won't do any of those during the Twig stream section. So this will be the last one before we go into our Twig time. Cool? Oh, wait, you said trivia. You want trivia, right? Okay, Marin's trivia before we hop into Twig. Heat. Need to fix your heat? Oh, need my fix. Got you. Okay. What imaginary line passes through Greenwich, England? What imaginary line passes through Greenwich, England? Again, pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Could be wrong. Pretty sure it's Greenwich. Thankfully, you're wrong, Wit, but let Marin answer. It is indeed the prime meridian. Unless another word for the prime meridian is the international dateline. I wouldn't know that. All right. Congratulations, Marin. I assume another $1 to the Give Kids the World. Another $1 to Give Kids the World. That's my assumption. That'll be the third $1. Does that make sense? Yes, please. You got it. All right, we're going to pause Spoofy. Everybody say bye, Spoofy. And everybody say hello to YouTube as we get started with Twig. Welcome into Twig. This is our weekly geekly news show here on the channel. I encourage you, do not click away. This is an interactive show that we do here on Twitch every single Thursday at some time during our Twitch stream. I'm glad that you're here, Twitch chat. If you would say hi to YouTube, our folks that are watching this on YouTube after the fact, or they can't see it, but you can always say hi to our podcast gang that's been listening to these in the audio version over on our podcast feed. We always start this show with a special segment of what did you watch, play, or read in the past week. So I'll ask the chat here on Twitch. You'll see their answers pop up over here. But if you're watching over on YouTube, be sure to drop down in the comment section. What did you watch? What did you play? What did you read during the past week? For those of you that keep up with Twig, you noticed that we weren't around last week. That's because I was on vacation. And so as I was on vacation, I had a lot of time to play a lot of games, watch a lot of shows, and read a lot of books, but I didn't because I was experiencing the city of Denver. So really, it was a pretty low-key week for me. I didn't do too much, but what I did watch was the plane movies because, of course, whenever you're on an airplane, who doesn't watch the movies? Maybe that's just me, but every single time I get on a plane, I feel like I watch more movies than ever before. I watched 2 movies on the flight over, and the first one was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. If you slept on this movie last year, that was real good. I really enjoyed it, that film all around. It was fun. It was a wild ride. It was a great twist at the end that actually got like a legit chuckle out of me. It felt like true blue millennial Gen Z humor in a way that we haven't gotten to see in such a psychological horror film before. Thought it was a great time. I don't normally enjoy Pete Davidson at all, but he was really great. And the cast that they picked beyond Pete was an exceptional cast. I thought it was really well put together. And if you like murder mysteries, that was one that told it in a really fun Gen Z millennial-esque way, which is not something we've gotten before. I also watched a award-winning movie for the first time, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Wow, you want to talk about a 90% excellent movie. That movie, for the first, I think it was like an hour and a half to 2 hour movie. And man, the first 90% of that movie was one of the best movies I've ever seen. And that was one of the worst endings to a film I've ever seen. So no spoilers. Maybe you would enjoy it. It's certainly a controversial ending that a lot of people loved. A lot of people did not love. As for me, I was left really wanting. So if you haven't seen 3 Billboards, I highly recommend you do watch it. Exceptional casting. I will watch literally anything with Sam Rockwell. I think he's one of the greatest actors ever. And so it's a real joy to see Sam Rockwell in anything. The whole cast was absolutely exceptional. But hoo boy, what a rough ending, in my opinion. I've started reading 2 different books. The first one is Book Lovers. I'm finally getting around to that. It's a big award winner that, of course, it's called Book Lovers, so people that love books are going to love it. I love books, so I love this book. Really enjoying it so far. It's got that great rom-com energy and kind of pokes fun at the genre itself. And then Chojin X. I can actually show you. Chojin X is the manga that I'm reading. I got this in Manga Spice Cafe for March and finally got around to reading it. Really enjoying it. Love the art, love the style. It kind of reminds me of a grittier My Hero Academia in a sort of way. So I'm having fun with it and enjoying that manga. I'm continuing my journey in Coffee Talk episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly. And then also, I have fallen down the rabbit hole of Vampire Survivors yet again. I cannot stand this game. It is too addicting, and I think I might have ADHD. I'm non-diagnosed, but oh boy, does that game scratch an itch in my brain that I need scratched. It is a real problem of like, once I start playing Vampire Survivors, I can't stop. And the next thing I know, I've logged like 30 hours into a game that I don't really enjoy. So there's probably something I should talk to a doctor in there. But you know, we'll deal and we'll figure it out. If you've never played Vampire Survivors before, it is a bullet hell, sort of, in which you upgrade your character constantly over a ticking time clock of 30 minutes maximum before death himself comes for you. And you just have to kill all of the monsters that you can while upgrading yourself along the way, and the upgrades also can evolve and combine with each other, and it's just so darn satisfying to upgrade yourself within a 30-minute time limit. It reminds me of the classic Newgrounds days of tower defense. This is not a tower defense game, but it reminds me of that satisfaction that you would get in that sim element of tower defense games where you just build and build and you have such a good time doing it. So I just can't help myself. I'm in it, and hopefully I'm almost done with it. So there's like 165-ish things on a checklist whenever you start the game. I started the game over, and I think I'm on like 158. So I've almost completed the game again. And I don't know how to feel about that. I'm not happy about it. I don't want to talk about it. That's why I'm talking about it so long. Let's look at our chat and see what other people are playing right now. What are they watching, reading, playing currently? Let's see. Paraspectus just restarted and resumed Tokyo Revengers. Ooh, very good. I'm waiting for the dub, personally, for the next season before I really get back into it because I love that dub. I think it's a really good one. But man, Tokyo Revengers is an excellent story. Playing Jedi Survivor, didn't get to watch or read much. Sad indeed. You'll have to let me know how you're feeling about Jedi Survivor, Sneaky. I am thinking about starting it, but we'll see. I really wanted to play it on PC so that I could play it on my Steam Deck, but I'm hearing that it is a rough with a capital R, so not feeling that one too hard. Zando, I've been playing a ton of RE4 Remake and watching all that sweet Street Fighter 6 content. Yep, it's right around the corner. Almost here. And I showed my wife the first, and in my opinion, only Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It was her first time watching it. Wow, that's a long time to sleep on a movie. That's really an icon of a time. Hit the 30-minute mark like 6 times in a row and wasn't unlocking anything new and felt like I was done. Oh boy. Well, I tell you what, once you find that, if you didn't find the checklist and start looking for like, which one can I check off next? That was where the addiction came for me. In the sense that it would be like reach level 80 with so-and-so, and then I would absolutely have to do that, and then I would do it, and I'd unlock a new item, and then I'd be like, well, I wonder what that item combines with, and then I'd try to combine the item with a new thing. I'm telling you, it's an ADHD problem, and I'm undiagnosed, but I'm convinced. This game has almost convinced me that maybe there's a question and a conversation to be had with my doctor, so maybe I'll bring that up the next time I see him. With that, we're going to get into our things for today. Do feel free to continue dropping in the chat things that you've played, read, or watched, or interacting with these trending headlines. We're going to get into some of the trending headlines that have been on my news feed, at least in the past week, and see what you think about any of these, and if you have any things that you might want to weigh in on. Free Comic Book Day is right around the corner, quite literally happening this Saturday, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is getting a prequel comic that will be distributed on that day. So, if you are one of the frequent consumers of Free Comic Book Day, and I hope you are because it's good to support your local shop, you can go and receive the Marvel Spider-Man 2 prequel comic, as I assume a part of your bundle in whatever store you're a part of. I would guess it's probably in just about all of them. For those of you that haven't kept up, this is Insomniac's Spider-Man game. The first Spider-Man game was an absolute icon of the PS4 era, and then Miles Morales did really, really well and maximized on some of those things while shortening the time. And it's just an all-around good time. I think that I'm looking forward to it. The story was definitely like a Spider-Man story, so I'm curious about how they'll expand upon it in this prequel comic and what they'll actually do that'll make it that engaging, or it'll just be cool to have a Spider-Man comic because who doesn't love Spider-Man? So you can enjoy that on Free Comic Book Day along with your other free comic books. Let me know. Are you someone that participates in Free Comic Book Day? And whenever you do, what has been kind of a highlight for you of that? Do you make sure that you're also going to buy something? I hope you go buy some trading cards or whatever your comic book store might have on that day as well. Or, hey, take the time and set up a pull list. That's a good way of helping your local comic book shop. With that, we're going to move into the next news story. Next one, Xbox Game Pass games that are coming out this month. Let's go through some of the things that will be coming your way. Some of the exciting things being added to Xbox in May 2023. First off, it already actually has been added. It's been in there for 2 days now. The apparently quite disappointing Redfall. Redfall dropped on the 2nd, and people are not enjoying it. I'm not surprised. I was never interested in Redfall in the slightest. I am over vampire games, and certainly over that genre of game in general. So I'm not good at FPS. I'm not good at ARPGs. This was not one for me anyway, but you know, it's not doing well, so it's especially not for me. Ravenlock drops today on Game Pass. If you haven't heard of Ravenlock, it's a fun little indie entry. Weird West Definitive Edition is dropping on May 8th. This is actually a re-release, of course, because Weird West is already out, but this is the Definitive Edition officially coming to Game Pass, included in your subscription. If you slept on Weird West, it was a pretty fun game with definitely some weird elements. We played it actually on our stream, so if you want to go back into our VODs channel, you can go and watch our gameplay of Weird West and see if it's one for you. Shadowrun Trilogy comes out on the 9th. That's coming only to PC. Fuga Melodies of Steel 2 on May 11th. Amnesia the Bunker, May 23rd. Railway Empire 2 on May 25th. And Far World Pioneers on May 30th. So those are all the ones coming your way. Here are the ones that are going to be leaving, unfortunately. So Before We Leave is leaving on May 15th, which is funny to say. Danganronpa 2. Please play Danganronpa! Danganronpa 2 is probably one of the best in the series, and it is leaving on the 15th. So if you are a Danganronpa fan, go buy the games. If you are somebody that has heard me talk about them ad nauseum, then Danganronpa 2 is about to leave. So if you wanted to play it, included in your subscription over at Game Pass, that was your opportunity, and it's almost over. You got 11 days to go play through about 30 hours of visual novel content. Hearts of Iron 4 is leaving on the 15th. Her Story is leaving on the 15th. My Friend Pedro is leaving on the 15th, and Umurangi Generation Special Edition is leaving on the 15th. So those are your games coming, your games leaving, and all the things exciting about Xbox Game Pass. If you are a contributor of Xbox Game Pass, if you enjoy it, let us know. What are you currently playing on Game Pass? What's a highlight of it for you? Or If you do not like Game Pass, did any of those games kind of wet your whistle? Did they make you feel interested in going and checking it out? Let us know. With that, we're going to move on to the next news story. Marvel Midnight Suns, in a weird twist of fate, has announced that it will not be coming to Nintendo Switch. I thought this was a super strange story. It's not something that we really hear that often. It will still be coming to PS4 and Xbox One, but will not be released on Nintendo Switch. Not even a cloud version of this game. If you missed out on Marvel Midnight Suns, as I understand it, it is sort of a XCOM style Marvel game, and it was one that did really, really well. People really enjoyed it. They enjoyed the darker storylines. I think they enjoyed the almost romance sim element that was in this one, and I'm very surprised that it's not coming to the Switch. I wonder if this is the first death toll that we're going to hear of the Nintendo Switch. We all know, and Nintendo knows, that they are certainly needing to advance forward in generations and console generations. They need a new console, whether that's a Switch Pro or something else entirely. It's obviously a necessity. Everybody knows it. It's almost certain that they're working on it. The announcement is the only thing we're waiting on at this point. But I think this is a pretty interesting twist. I can see it being taken one of two ways. Either this is a big negative because it means that the death toll has started and we are not closer to a new console, or it's exciting news because this means that Nintendo said, no thanks. We're working on something new and you should wait for that. So I could see this as a premonition of either a really ill, foreboding couple months, maybe even years that we're going to get ahead of us, or this is a sign that an announcement is right around the corner, hopefully for a holiday 2023. I'd be very excited this Christmas to be holding in my hand a Switch Pro or a Switch whatever they come up with next. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think I'm way off base. Let me know if you enjoyed Midnight Suns as Whit did. I remember when Whit played that one, and so that was a good time. I think it was a fun game. I didn't play it. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan around. It's been on my list of maybe I'll play it, but it's not even on my backlog, so it's definitely not that engaging to me. Next up, boop. The Writers Guild is striking right now. The Writers Guild of America, that includes both the East Coast and West Coast, are striking right now. So maybe if you are someone that keeps up with live TV shows, then you will have noticed that this strike is happening. For instance, if you keep up with any of the late night shows, you'll know that they aren't currently airing. This is around a lot of things. It's actually the first example of any kind of industrial reaction from within the machine that is the Writers Guild in about 15 years. So it's been a while since we've seen anything from them, and this is an interesting time. One of the things that they're citing in their actual work and negotiations that they have presented is that they're wanting to kind of tap into the existential crisis that's happening right now in the writers' rooms regarding AI and AI-based writing. We really need to talk about that, talk about protections around it, both for the use of it and for the misuse of it. So we'll see what happens and what comes out of it and how these negotiations continue to progress forward. I will not acknowledge that I am a member or even know a member of the Writers Guild, so I can't weigh in beyond that. But obviously, I do believe in a fair pay, I do believe in equity, and I do believe in the right to do this, and the right to strike, and the right to demand action to be done. And I think that this is a good thing, even if it is a hard thing for those of us that just need our Jimmy Fallon right now, which is not me, but maybe it's you. So if you're interested in learning any more about this, I will be dropping our show notes at some point, and you can check out this article and learn more about the Writers Guild and about the strike that they're going on. Now, back to some news that we actually just talked about, sort of. Vampire Survivors. If you are a fan of Vampire Survivors, as I am, then you may have heard that we're actually getting an animated TV show. Story Kitchen is working on an animated TV show coming out in the next little while, and I am curious. If you've ever taken the time to look at Vampire Survivors' actual collection, then you could see that there's a lot of lore to this game that is surprising, because for the most part of a game that you really just kind of you use one stick and you shoot everything around you, and it's really basic and minimal and hardly even well crafted as a aesthetic appeal. The team did a good job with the narrative. So very curious to see how they choose to expand that. It kind of reminds me in a lot of ways of of Castlevania. And so I think if they're able to actually like take this and run with it, then it could be a really fun thing to see somebody exploring the story that we never really got to be told in the quick, rapid nature of a video game. With that, those are all of the trending shows of the week, or trending news of the week, the things that we like to talk about here on the show. But that does not keep away from your news. So this is news that you may have submitted to us or news that we may have heard about through your posting over on the Discord. So I highly recommend sending in your news to bit.ly/DearTwig, DEAR Twig, and letting us know what kind of news you would like to see here on the show each week. I do check that each week, and so you can submit your news there and let us know what you'd like to see. Or just by being active over on our Discord, I scroll through things, and if I find things especially interesting, then I'll try and draw them out and talk about them here on the show. With that, let's get into our first piece of news from the Discord. The first piece is Twisted Metal is receiving its own TV show with a teaser officially dropping in the past week. Sneaky Pigs dropped this one over in the Discord. It's curious. I like Anthony Mackie, so I'm down for it. I'm down to see exactly what we see out of it. I really like Will Arnett, Thomas Hayden Church, Stephanie Beatriz. We've got a great cast behind this one, so I think it's going to be fun. I'm curious about the fact that it's on Peacock. I don't know what they're thinking putting it on Peacock, but Mrs. Davis is also on Peacock, and that was one that we mentioned at the last TWIG as being an interesting thing. So we'll find out. I don't know what the deal is with all these shows airing on Peacock. I guess they're really trying to enter the game. Twisted Metal is definitely a weird choice, but hey, I mean, you can't deny the notability factor, the household acclaim factor. I know Twisted Metal. Nerds are going to know Twisted Metal. Gamers are going to know Twisted Metal just off the top of their heads. So curious to see how they do this, why they do this, and in what ways they improve upon the original franchise that was really just about who's going to be the clown. That was pretty much it. Who's going to drive the ice cream truck? And then everybody else didn't really care. So should be fun to see. In very similar news, we also got a trailer for a real sleeper of Gran Turismo, which is going to be airing in the next little while, exclusively in theaters, August. So that's happening pretty soon. We're going to be seeing this one, hence the trailer behind it. If you're unfamiliar with the story behind this one, supposedly it's a true story, based on a true story anyway. They who did Gran Turismo? I'll have to look it up. I can't remember who did Gran Turismo, but apparently they did a contest in which they brought in some of their best racers, held a contest of who could race the best, and then the winner got an opportunity to actually learn how to drive in a real race and became like a for real racer. So I think that's what this is retelling. I think that's the story that we're getting here, and curious about it. Curious to see how it works out and how people enjoy the story and if it's told well. I think it's going to be a fine movie. I think it's going to be a popcorn movie, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes. Now we got two pieces of news that were actually submitted by me. This is kind of unfair, but look, you guys, if you want to not see news submitted by me, then you just gotta submit it yourself. Because I won't do it if we've got too much information out there, but we didn't this week, so these are my pieces of news. So submitted by myself. Dredge has announced a roadmap for the rest of the year. You guys know that I'm a diehard indie fan, and so indie games are my lifeblood. Dredge was, in particular, one of my favorites of the year. And they announced a couple of things that are going to be coming out this year. First off, in Q2, they're going to be dropping 2 updates to the game. Really just slice of life updates. The first one is they're going to be adding map markers to the map, which is a real godsend. Let me go ahead and tell you, if I could have gotten map markers, that would have made that game 100 times better, and it was already really good. The second thing that they're going to be adding is a photo mode and wildlife mode. Very curious about how that one's going to work and what wildlife you'd really want to see. I mean, the game was pretty, but it wasn't that pretty. So I'm interested to see how a photo mode increases the love of that game. But I will say you will remember that Lim from, oh gosh, his name is escaping me. What's his channel's name? Bad Gamer Elite. So Bad Gamer Elite, you will remember that he dropped on and said he would play the game if it had a photo mode. So heyo, now we'll get Lim to play the game. Q3, they're going to be adding on a boat paint option. So I'm going to assume you have the ability to now customize your boat that you'll be taking around. That would have been a real fun quality of life update as well. And then Q4, they're going to be doing, all of the updates so far have been free, but in Q4, they're going to be doing a paid update for DLC, baby. I'm so excited. More story in Dredge. I enjoyed Dredge so much, it was just too short. And now it's going to be longer. So Dredge is happening. It is coming out in Q4 of this year, paid DLC. You better believe I'm going to be a day oneer. You better believe we're going to be playing it here on stream. So heyo, know about that. It's coming up soon. Our other piece of news submitted also by me is Citizen Sleeper announced a physical release update, kind of as a Kickstarter. They've already exceeded their goal. They were hoping to raise £75,000, and they've already raised 101. So, and it ends on July 2nd. So they're gonna bypass it pretty drastically. I'm a big fan of Citizen Sleeper. I think it's a game that I probably enjoyed the most last year. The more I think about it, the more I wax poetic on it, the more I think it's my number one game of last year. It was just such a good one, such a dream, and they are releasing an entire physical edition box set. Now, I did not invest in the full box set, but I might if I can convince my wife that we need it, because we don't. But they released a bunch of physical things, such as an art book. They actually have two art books. They have their full design works, and then they have one that is a full artwork of 120 pounds. Which is quite expensive, but it's a collector's set essentially. They're also releasing a vinyl that is absolutely gorgeous. My problem with Citizen Sleeper and the vinyl is that the music was really not what sold me on that one, so I'm not super invested in the vinyl other than just looking at it because it's gorgeous. They are also going to be releasing a bundle of all these together. They're going to be releasing things that are only coming in the bundle, such as a dust jacket, such as tarot cards, such as dice, patches, bookmarks, things like that are only going to be coming in the premium edition. And then, most excitedly to me, the one that I've saved for very last, they are going to be releasing Cycles of the Eye, a Citizen Sleeper tabletop role-playing game solo TTRPG. I'm so stinking excited for this TTRPG. Of all the things that I've listed so far, this is the only one that I ordered, and it wasn't even a question. I ordered it the second that I saw it. Folks, I'm so excited about Citizen Sleeper receiving a TTRPG. If you never played it, it played like a TTRPG, and so the fact that they're taking that initiative and actually making the thing, I can't even. I can't even. I can't even, because I'm so excited about this game and about being able to play the TTRPG and the fact that it's solo, and so I don't have to worry about getting a crew together. I just get to play it myself. Bliss. Can't wait. With that has been all of your news from the Discord. Again, if you ever want to submit news, either post on our Discord regularly or bit.ly/DearTwig. That's the fastest and easiest way to make sure that your content is featured and your news is highlighted here on the show. With that, we're going to move into everybody's favorite time on the show at this point in nerd history. All right, so this is what was released today in nerd history. So what came out May 4th throughout time and space? Actually less than you would think. I'm surprised they've never released a Star Wars movie on May the 4th be with you day, but they didn't. And so we're going to talk about what did release today. Back in 2018, and this is in video games, back in 2018, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze released. In 2007, Spider-Man 3 released from the Tobey Maguire franchise. In 2005, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith released. That is the game for Game Boy Advance, which I played the dog out of. I loved that game. It was such a good one. Anyway, Red Dead Revolver also released in 2004, and those are your games that released on May 4th. Your movies that released on May 4th. I forgot that they ever did this, but this was a thing they used to do. So first off, just a little known movie that nobody's probably ever heard of. Back in 2012, The Avengers did drop today, so I'll never forget The Avengers and where I was and the fact that it released to such huge acclaim. Spider-Man 3, the movie, also released on this day in 2007. Spider-Man did that for some reason. Some of these movies, whenever they would release, they'd also release a game on the exact same day. And I always thought that was super curious of a thing that they did. And then just a random fact, back in 2012, in Las Vegas, Nevada, Google received their first self-driving vehicle testing license. I thought that was fun little nerdy news of the history of whenever we first started tapping into that vein and whenever Google first started experimenting. Of course, Google is well known for experimenting and then dropping things, so Who knows if we'll ever see anything from Google in this testing? We're now 11 years later, and pretty much it's Tesla that's really tapped into this curiosity. Although I suppose but most premium cars nowadays are going to have the auto parallel parking, so that's a form of self-driving. And maybe this was where it all began. So who could say? But that has been your At This Point in Nerd History. There we go. So there's all the things that have gone on in nerd history. Now we're going to move on to our other favorite segment of the show, the upcoming releases for this week. Also, kind of a sleepy one. It's not a big week in releases. The only movie that I could find worth its salt that's releasing is tomorrow, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I'm actually hearing mixed reviews on. We'll see how it does. I am, as I've mentioned several times, I'm only a sort of Marvel fan, and I'm certainly only a sort of Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I really enjoyed the first one. I didn't hate the second one, but I certainly have not enjoyed their presence in the Avengers very much. I think they're just kind of okay. Their point in Thor was so obviously, James Gunn so obviously did not want them to be in the Thor movie. So, there's thoughts, but I'm excited that Sneaky and Wit are going to see it tonight and tomorrow. Do let me know how it is. I'm sure that next Sunday, not this Sunday, but the next, we'll probably have a nerdy sermon on it. I always try to talk about the Marvel movies when they come out, and I will definitely be seeing it, and I'm very looking forward to seeing it because I like them. I don't love them. I like them. And we'll see how they go. Some games coming out in the next week. We definitely have more of these than we do movies, but even still, not too many. We have a game coming out today called Jected Rivals. If you've never heard of this game, because I hadn't, I'd recommend looking into it, especially if you like ridiculous racing games. It's just as it sounds. You wreck your car, you get ejected from it, and then you spawn another car in where you are ejected to. So kind of a launching game mixed in with a car racer. Who could say? Maybe fun, maybe not. Definitely a good party game, I think. Ravenlock, we already mentioned, is coming to Xbox Game Pass today. Fun little indie game. If you've never played the Cook Serve games, you should definitely invest in them, especially if you enjoyed Cooking Mama, because this takes those games to the next level. And Cook Serve Forever is dropping on the 8th, and will also be adding in a little bit of a sim element. So if you like doing any kind of simulator game, then this is going to be that plus cooking sims. So it's going to have a little bit of both worlds double dipping there. Darkest Dungeon, the iconic indie hit, is getting a sequel, Darkest Dungeon 2, coming out on the 8th. Poosh XL, Pooshxl, is coming out on the 8th. I know nothing about that one. Dokapon Kingdom coming out on the 9th. Nothing about that one. Mid-Autumn coming out on the 9th. This one looks great. No idea about it. And then Occupy Mars, the video game, taking the board game and adapting it into a video game, coming out on the 10th. So that should be exciting. And then we actually have something fun, DLC. I just found out about it this morning. I don't know how this DLC snuck past me because this game was such an icon of this year, an idol, if you will. Anyway, The Case of the Golden Idol, one of my favorite games that I've played so far this year, is getting DLC called The Spider of Lanka, coming out today, right now. Like, we're not playing it on stream today, but I tell you, if it came out this morning instead of this afternoon, we would be. Case of the Golden Idol, one of my favorite indie games that I've played so far this year. You gotta play it if you haven't. If you like mystery games, if you like point and click, if you like Sierra, holy moly, do you gotta play the Case of the Golden Idol, because woo, that was one of the best stories that I've experienced so far this year. And they're getting DLC, so I'm so looking forward to it. I will absolutely devour those DLC. I'm going to enjoy it so much. And then a TV show, the only one I could find is a TV show called Silo, coming to Apple TV tomorrow. Looks okay. Looks like another story about civilization of humans post-apocalyptic. So in this case, it's 10,000 humans that remain underground in a post-apocalyptic society where there are dangers that lurk above. And I'm assuming they're either sending a small team above or above starts to get in. Don't know. I'm sure it's one of them. Doubt I'll watch it. I barely even can use Apple TV because the UI is so doggone unusable. With that, those are your upcoming releases for the week. Let me know in the chat if you are excited about any of those, if any of those absolutely like perked up your ears and you feel very curious about them now, or if you're watching over on YouTube, drop down in the comment section down below. Let me know which one you think you'd be most excited for. With that, we are going to begin or end the show with our last segment, which is our meme of the week. So this is our meme of the week submitted by B Surfer, or H-Man if you know him, here over on Twitch. This is when you use your demons to your advantage, somebody has edited someone painting the wall on top of the classic scene from The Exorcist. Very funny, good time. That is the one that got the most reactions over on our Discord channel. If you would like to be featured as our meme of the week, then you just got to post in our memes and goof section over in our Discord, and I typically pull the one that has the most likes and reactions to it. So there you go. That has been your meme of the week and your segment of the show. Final thought as we close up, Sneaky Pig says, based on the book series, is this Silo? Based on the book series, Wool, which was decent. First book is amazing and the rest, eh. Yeah, that seems to be the way that it goes with those kind of stories and with those kind of narratives. So we'll see how it does. I'm not planning on watching it, but if it does really well, then hey, sure, why not? I'll pick it up. But first, I've got Mrs. Davis to watch, and that's the one that I'm most curious about as of right now. With that, this has been The Week in Geek. I'm going to start that over. With that, this has been The Week in Geek. I so appreciate all of you tuning in for this weekly nerdy, geeky show. It does happen every single Thursday on our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/checkpointchurch. That's anywhere during this time period of this stream, so be sure to tune in every single week for this. Sometimes we have level 2 members. Sometimes I do it solo, just like this, and we always have a lot of fun doing it either way, and I enjoy interacting with the chat during this interactive news show. With that, we're going to wrap this one up with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you, whether you're watching on Twitch, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're listening over the podcast. We still believe this to be true about you. Number 1, whether God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here on Twitch, YouTube, and Discord. And number 3, we that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, and until the next time that I see you, whether it be next week for our TWIG next week, or whether it be over on our Discord or Twitch or YouTube channel in between now and then, I look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye, and welcome back. Welcome back to our Twitch peeps. We're going to take a quick 3-minute break, folks, and whenever we come back, we're going to be playing a game called Melon Journey. Melon. So it should be a good time, a little indie hit, as it is Ludonarracon. We're going to play a little indie hit that got a reboot and re-release this past month, and I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good time, so be sure to stick around while we play some Melon Journey. But for now, we're going to take a quick break, rest our legs, rest our eyes, get our eyes away from a screen, take a snack, whatever you got to do. Just take a little bit of a break so that you can get relaxed. And we'll be back in 3 minutes. See you then. Still waiting. Weesh tip. So there you go. The tips are auto loading. But for some reason the alerts are not popping up.
Pog you.
Why is it so awful? How do I follow the race? How do I follow the race? Oh no, what's happening? I can't follow the race. Oh, whoa. Okay. Uh-oh. All right. Mom, I'm the greatest gamer. Mother, did you hear? Did you hear that I'm the greatest gamer? It's true. I don't remember anything else about Squirtle. He's doing a T-pose, though. I accidentally drew him in T-pose, dude. All right, T-pose Squirtle. Squirtle. This is Squirtle, man. That's a cursed Squirtle as well. We're just getting all the cursed things out of the way first, dude. I tried, man. I tried. Oh, I'm telling you. Oh. Oh no! Congratulations, Christina. Ooh. We have a good time, don't we? Ooh, don't we have a good time? Brrr. Full screen, I'll do it. We don't talk about checkpoint. No. Right. What happens when you're going to redeem a gotchapon from now on?
Like Scoob, I guess we better see what's inside of this gotchapon. I'm a little scared.
Did you guys hear it? Did you hear Shaggy? Did you hear my buddy? By Noor Unahar. So that's pretty hype.
Good evening, ladies
now
and
I can't hear it
gentlemen.
again.
This is your captain speaking.
Why?
Hello? Is
Why
this
come?
thing on? Testing.
Well, I'll go to the other one.
2.
I'll go to the other
2.
one. In just a moment.
2.
Every $100, you'll get to hear a page from my book that I wrote when I was 10 years old. It's super cringe and embarrassing. Every $500, we're going to do a quiz that have been sent to us. Yamask and Cophagrigus. How do you say that? Cophagrigus. What? Okay, Yamask is fine. Welcome back. All right, folks. We're going to get right on into Melon Journey. Bittersweet Memories. I'm very excited about this game. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. Pretty much ever since I read about it in Patch Magazine. So, should be a great time. We're going to everybody say bye, Spoofy. Say bye, Spoofy. And we're going to set up this game and play it together. Now, as I understand it, again, this is a remaster, revisioning, reboot of a game that already existed over on Itch.io before. And it looks like it is windowed. Let's see if I can make it full screen so that it'll draw for us automatically. Game is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual hedgehogs, hamsters, bunnies, cats, or dogs, living or dead, is fictional. Okay, yeah, it's no way to make it windowed unless F4. Nope. All right. Let us draw a window then. We're going to pull this one. Sure. Oops. Let's shrink that on up. I don't think we're going to play the game Trapped again anytime soon, so that's what this window capture was for. Almost there. So close. Too much. Sure. Why not? That'll do. That'll do. All right, Melon Journey, Bittersweet Memories. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to assume it's standard controls. We'll find out. Z and X will do it. Oh, hello. Hey, you there. You look awfully suspicious. What's your name? My name is Check. Check, you say? Interesting. Very, very interesting. And you work at the Eglantine Industries melon processing plant, correct? Yeah. Oh, yes. Then surely you recognize this face. Cantaloupe? Obviously this is point. Or is it X? Is this our rival? I'm gonna say X. Just as I thought. Well, that's all the information I need for now. You're free to go. But remember, I've got my eye on you. Okay. If there's one thing I've come to know, this is me. It's that nothing can bring about as much happiness and destruction as a single melon. Oh, so true. So true, Jack. So true. Don't believe me? It sounds ridiculous, I know. Is it a noir? Am I playing a noir right now? Look, it was never my intention to get caught up in this mess. I think I'm playing a noir. It all started early one morning. The dame shows up at my door, her silhouette around the glass. Okay, I'm getting up. Oh no, I overslept again. Get dressed for work, obviously. Looking good. An alarm clock, your least favorite possession. That's cute. A cute stuffed platybear was a gift from X. Oh no, is X my friend? I thought X was my rival! Oh no! There's a letter here. This is my apartment. Dear Check, if you can slip out of work today, take the train to Hogtown and meet me there. Kitten Princess and Strong Dog will be there too. I have something important to tell you all. Just make sure you don't tell anyone about this. See you then, X. P.S. I heard you snoring at your desk yesterday. Picked up X letter. Can I run? Oh. I'm Supposed to meet up with everyone at Cafe Pio. Ooh. So many items. I can't interact with that? Can I interact with these doors? Oh. Walter's pristine mattress with the tag still attached. Above it, his portrait is glaring at you. Did they just leave their doors open? Oh my goodness. A crate of extra sugar, extra caffeine melon soda straight from the warehouse. A messy dresser. Too scary to look inside. Magazine cut out of a famous Rottweiler modeling a pair of smoochy sunglasses. Oh, this is cute. This is very cute. I like the writing already. This is X Room. A cute stuffed Plata Bear, you give X. Ah, the Pony brand alarm clock. A small drum shaped like a melon. X has had this for years. Oh. Onward and upward. Check, you here. I figured you finally got fired. Anyway, you gotta come to the office quick. It's an emergency. It reminds me of a Game Boy game so much with the green colors. So, nice weather we're having, huh? We're just going to the marketing office, okay? I'm sure you already knew that. It's right through that door. We both work there, so I shouldn't have to explain this to you. You see, it's terrible. I don't have any moves left in solitaire. I'm not kidding. I've tried literally everything. I'm at my wit's end here. Except, wait. That's a good bit. That's a good bit. We did it. Thank you, Jack. You just saved my sad little life. There's a postcard from a strong dog and kitten princess. Having a great honeymoon. Wish you and X were here. Actually, we don't. I picked up the postcard. What? The day off? But Jack, there's so much to do and you just got here and I suppose I could pawn the extra work off on Walter. Not like he'd notice anyway. Alright, fine, you can go, but first take that down to assembly for me. It's a final label design to the Melon Soda 2.0 rebrand. Give it to Rocky down on the first floor. Got the Melon 2.0 labels. The whole to the Frochi Copy Star 5000 LaserJet all-in-one printer copy machine. The cheapest money can buy. I want that piece of paper. Files full of important company contacts and a few used tissues. Gross. X-Desk, I wonder why it's so empty. Walter's computer. On the desktop is a spreadsheet editor, Melon Soft Word, Melon Movie Maker, and a copy of MPG Maker. Oh no! Walter's a nerd! Morning check. Morning check. I'm still working on that novella. It's not easy trying to write a soul-stirring tale of heartbreak and turmoil. Somebody around here's got to do it. Can't go past there. It's locked. New company policy. Break room is to be locked at all times. Anyone currently on break is to be locked inside. Nice. A portrait of Ramby Rabbit Eglantine, CEO of President of Eglantine Industries. You can feel his eyes watching you. Note on the door says, stairs closed due to strawberry jelly spillage incident. Remember, strawberry products are not permitted on company property, not management. Because we only support Melon. Melon! Note on the door says, oh, yep, we already got that. Oh, is this my home again? Look at that giant melon! Welcome to Eglantine Industries. All visitors must... Oh, check, it's just you. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of out of it from talking to all these investors all day with their turned up snouts and their well-groomed fur. Okay. Oh! This is where I need to be? I feel like I need to be in assembly. So tell me about assembly. Where's assembly? So we all live in this factory? That's a bit, That's a bit Orwellian. This deadline is way too soon. How am I supposed to get all this melon soda bottled and ready to ship by tomorrow? We're already working at twice our normal capacity as it is. I got a question for you. This whole Melon Soda 2.0 thing is just a marketing gimmick, right? I mean, tastes the same as always to be. Do people really fall for that? They do. They do. Is this about child labor? It just might. My eye doctor told me that working with this loud machinery all day could be bad for my hearing. These earplugs the company provided only cover the fake bunny ears, not my real ears. Fake. My eye doctor told me that inspecting boxes for 10 uninterrupted hours each day could be bad for my eyes. Every time I try to give my eyes a break, my manager yells at me. Even if someone comes up and talks to me, I can't turn around and look at them. Are you the manager? Oh, the new label designs. About time you layabouts in marketing got this finished. All right, just bring this signature back up to Donnie. Think you can manage that? Do I have to? You're headed for Hogtown. You should do some market research while you're there. I hear that sometime soon they might legalize melons over there. What is this game? I bet you that boss is going to open a new factory. He always got his fingers on the pulse of the melon world. That took a twist. Ugh, now this is what I call a box. Since we switched over to the new formula, they let me take some cases of the old stuff home. But I already have so much at home, more than I could ever drink. I've been heating it up on the stove and having melon soda soup for dinner every night. What is that music? Why is it so dissonant? Dissonant music makes me nervous. All right, back up to Donnie we go. I wasn't aware that I had to do this again. Bum bum ba-dum ba-dum bum. Bum bum ba-dum ba-dum bum. All right, Donnie, what's that? Thanks for running those labels downstairs. What's this? Rocky's autograph. I'll just toss that into the trash where it belongs. By the way, have you seen X today? X's briefcase? This wasn't here earlier. I should probably bring it with me just in case. Ahem. That X. They ran right into me in the hallway. Dropped that briefcase. Didn't even bother to pick it up. They're lucky I even bothered to bring it back here. Bye, Walter. Walter, dude. The overachiever, man. All right. Oh, hello there. Aw, check, right? Perfect timing. The boss would like to speak with you. Please come with me. Okay. Why? I just want to go to I want to go to town with my friends. Oh. Is that an egg? Statue of the first melon sold by Eglantine Industries. CEO stairs for use by Ramby Rabbit Eglantine only. Statue of the first small shell melon prototype across from a melon and an egg. A statue of the first 50-pound super melon grown at Eglantine Industries. Pair of standard issue Eglantine Industries bunny ears, mandatory accessory for all employees. Okay, so sure enough. A statue of Hans Huskmelon, explorer who was the first to bring melons to the continent. A statue of Eglantine Industries founder, the great Ramby Rabbit Eglantine. Huh? I'm trying to sleep here, you know. Can't a guy stand up on a pedestal and take a nap on his lunch break without being disturbed? No, if you'll excuse me. That's hilarious. Ramby will see you now, straight through these doors. Oh. Hello, Chick. Please, have a seat. I've called you here to go over some details about tomorrow's meeting with the shareholders. You see, were you on your way out? A bit early to call it a day, isn't it? I'm not making him a cocktail! Ah! You know, there's just so much work to be done around here lately, what with the unveiling of Melon Soda 2.0 just around the corner. We all have to do our part, you know. Ah, well. I'm sure you'll make it up somehow. I won't hold you any longer. We can go over the details in the morning. Goodbye now. Okay. Okay. You're very intimidating. You're a very intimidating person. I feel like I probably should have heard him out. Probably should have heard him out. What y'all doing? So what should we get for lunch today? Definitely not peanut butter spaghetti like last time. Ew, you'll never catch me taking recommendations from Janet again. Can you guess what this room is, kids? That's right, this is where we extract all that delicious melon juice that we use as the base for the melon soda we all know and love. Wow! Can I jump in? Has anyone ever drowned in it? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to disclose this kind of information. Any other questions? What's with the bunny ears? Great question. We wear these ears to honor our company's founder, Mr. Ramby Rabbit Eglantine. How come they don't sell melons in Hogtown? Is it because they're poison? I can assure you that our melons are perfectly safe for anyone to enjoy, and they are quite popular here in Hamtown. But in Hogtown, there's a strange law that prohibits the sale of all melons and melon-derived products. I have a question. Can I go to the bathroom? All right, kids, moving on. Next, I'll be heading for the distribution department. Okay, listen. I got a date over in Hogtown. All right, so bye. This case sure is scary. What have I got myself into? I'd say we got this case just about wrapped up. Robbery gone awry, seen it 100 times. I guess so. What about the notebook we found? All the pages have been ripped right out. What was that? Well, you see, that's simply unrelated. It was robbery, plain and simple. You're right, but I can't wait to be an experienced cop like you. All in good time, my dear Hamish. Excuse me. Do you work here? I'd like to ask you a few questions if I could. Ham Lumbo is very funny. My name is Lieutenant Ham Lumbo from the Hamtown Bureau of Investigation. You see, I'm interested in learning more about Eglantine Industries. Gee, what a nice pair of ears you have. Are those real? What I wanted to ask, do you know a man by the name of Carl Melon? No? Didn't think so. Everyone I asked, they've never heard of him. But the fact is, he died right here, on company property. Murdered. Is this a mystery game? I like his eyebrow. There's just this thing about this notebook. I can't make heads or tails of this case. Well, I won't take up any more of your time. Can't go that way. Bye, Ham Lumbo. Myrtle! Oh, there's been a Myrtle. All right, on we go. Oh, I'm making a phone call. Hello, who is this? What? Is my refrigerator running? What are you talking about? This better not be one of those prank calls I've heard so much about. It's a melon soda vending machine. Kick it? No, I don't want to kick it. The moth living inside? That's so good! That's so good. So I guess if I would have kicked it, the moth would have fallen to his doom, dude. I would have been the murderer. I'm on my way to protest the mayoral election in Hogtown. That Kitten King is gonna rue the day he messed with us hedgehogs. He's not gonna know what hit him. I have a meeting in 30 minutes. I'm not gonna make it. When's that darn train gonna get here? I'm gonna be late for my dental appointment.
Yeah, I'll have one #2 combo, extra fries, and a large melon soda. No ice.
We only sell train tickets here?
Oh, fine. I'll just take my business elsewhere.
Next. Need a ticket to Hogtown? Here you go. Nice timing. Looks like the train is just pulling in. That is a train if I've ever seen one. That is the trainiest train I've ever seen. Chugga chugga. Off we go. It's been so long since I last visited Hogtown. I wonder if anything's changed. Now arriving in Hogtown, it's a beautiful sunny afternoon. Hog bless. Thank you for riding Creatures Express. Melon Journey. Act 1 of 37. All right. So I guess that was all the tutorial. Now the game begins. Man, another drab day in Hogtown. More boring work meetings. One of those days I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna drop out of society. Just watch me. Oh! What? Oh no, the briefcase. Out of order. Well, I would chase after him. Excuse me, I'm looking for town hall. This is my intention to cause a great deal of civil unrest and draw lots of attention to myself. People need to hear my heartfelt message. Oh! Hedgehogs!
All right, pause up.
Where are you going in such a hurry, huh? None of your business. Lay off, you pigs. Oh my.
What was that?
She called us pigs, Hedgie.
Pigs? Well, I'm a full-blooded hedgehog, I'll have you know.
Say, why don't we see what's inside that briefcase of yours? Melon seeds. Well. This is enough to put you away for a long time. It's not mine.
Sure, I've heard enough. You're coming with us. Let's roll.
Oh no! We just got her arrested! Looks like this fell out of X's briefcase. 4RH. Picked up a slip of paper.
I think I know that cat who just got arrested. Where's her name, Lily? I haven't talked to her since she joined that gang. Guess she's been getting along well, yeah. Probably should intervene, but kind of a wanted man right now. I jaywalked earlier this morning. Don't tell anyone, okay? Gotta keep a low profile.
I can't wait for Hamstar's concert. I got here early just to make sure it had the perfect place to stand. It's truly the least inconvenient. What just happened over there? All right, I forgot melons are illegal here. Something I need to do. Hey, look, it's Hamstar. A little sus. Yoo-hoo, check. Kitten Princess and Strong Dog. Ah, check, you made it just in time for brunch.
Oh, hey, Check, wait. Before you say anything, just check this out. I've been working on something you just gotta see. Oh, yeah, baby.
Anyways, it was X who organized this little soiree, wasn't it? At least according to his letter. I can't find him. Lost again? How very droll.
Don't worry, my darling pumpkin pie. Just let me handle everything. After all, I put the strong in Strong Dog.
How amazing, beautiful, heroic. You got it, Trombone. Okay, Google, set a 5-minute timer.
I do it all for you, my love.
Oh, Strong Dog. Aw, they're in love. You'll have to pardon us newlyweds. You look distraught. Is something else on your mind? Oh, is that all? You lost your briefcase full of melons. Melon seeds?
Come on now, Jack. You know better than to bring that stuff to Hogtown, don't you?
Your drinks are ready. Shh. Looks like you're new around here.
You good, Jack? Listen, don't you go looking for those C's or you'll end up in a mess of trouble. If you need anything, just swing by our apartment later on. It's the one with the light green roof. You can't miss it.
Can't I? Oh, nope. Shall we revisit the topic later? I fear this staff may turn a prying ear to our conversation. Plus, I just can't stand the look of that nasty rat. Yes, we're trying to have a private conversation here, so buzz off. Honey, I think there's someone staring at us.
Oh, King, and who does he think he is running for mayor of Hogtown? Be satisfied with your own kingdom, man.
Nothing like a refreshing vanilla horseradish latte to start my day.
Welcome.
Welcome to Cafe Pio. Can I interest you in some walnut cheese tea? No, I get the feeling you're not here for our world-famous beverages. I saw you running after that cat Lily earlier, but be careful if I were you. There are eyes everywhere, and you never know who's watching.
Great, just great. Gut stood up again. What is it this time? My bad personality, my bad breath? Could I be bad to the bone?
The sounds of this game have attracted Minerva. Well, there are lots of cats, so that makes sense. Ouch, the thorns of this butcher are pricking each and every one of my miserable little fingers. Why did I take this job hanging up posters? And I still have 2,631 left to go.
Oh, great. A ham on the street interview. How do you feel about the Kitten King's bid for the mayor of Hogtown?
I mean, everybody's been negative so far. He's a crook.
And there you have it, folks. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of opinions.
Kitten King will legalize melons. He's definitely not a felon. Down with Hogsworth. Get him out of office. If he wins, then they'll all be in coffins. Man, this rhyming thing's hard. We don't want a king. We don't want a bear. This side covers up a lack of hair. Also, have we had any acknowledgement of today being May the 4th? May the 4th be with you always, and also with you. There's a note that says, missing ant responds to the name Antony or Antonio Antares. $5 reward. $5? It's beautiful. This is some of the greatest sculpture work I've ever seen. An ordinary fire. What appears to be a mailbox. Is it really? Which one is the one? Mrs. Hodgson, hey, can't you hear me screaming? What's that, Reginald? You mustn't mumble now. Now let me hear that beautiful voice of yours loud and clear. Mrs. Hodgson, let me into my father's office right this minute. I have important matters I need to discuss. You have important matters you need to dust? Well, Reginald, don't ask your father for help or something like that. Sorry, I forgot the lyric. You're all good. Yes, allergies, you know. Did you put him in the hospital? But, Mrs. Hodgson. No buts. You go to your box home to the matters yourself. Then you can speak to your father instead. This isn't right. You can't do this to me. Sorry, dear. I can't hear you too well. You have to come a bit closer. Oh, are you here to speak to Mayor Hogsworth? I believe he's busy practicing his yo-yo tricks right now. He's a very busy man, but there's just so much to do before tomorrow's election. So can I see him or no? A medicine tray littered with half-empty bottles of pills and vitamins prescribed for Mayor Hogsworth. There's a book called Dog Capital by Carl Mellon. Carl Mellon! Forgot to drop my greeting emotes. That's right, you now have your own emotes, your own channel. I'm absolutely going to read it. The goal of Melonism is to abolish the alienation between hams, hogs, pups, rabbits, and the products of these species' labor. While this includes many things, such as various types of flavored yogurt, chief among them is the melon. Thus, the term Melonism. Melons and melon products are so tasty that they're essential to the flourishing of our respective species. Is this Karl Marx? Is this a Marxian game? Was I spot on the money with Orwell? Therefore, to regain control of their production would be to live again as free creatures. All right, well, Marxian ideas, here we come. Therefore, to regain control of their production would be to live again as free creatures. The Fool's Guide to Being Mayor and the Fool Guide to Being the Mayor's Assistant. Alert, cuz I love y'all, but it's making my head worse, so it is nap time. Go take a nap. Get some rest. Oh! Okay. A portrait of Hogsworth the First, Hogsworth the Second, Hogsworth the Third, Hogsworth the Fourth. Very funny. No, you youngins these days, don't you know you can't just go running off before to go? The mayor's very busy, you know, and he has usually just let the town folk water into his office. Oh, he's nothing like his great-grandfather in that regard. Here, let me show you. Now, in Hogsworth the First, he listened to the thoughts and ideas of all town residents day in and day out, so it's kind of bad. It's one who hired me, you know. Of course, at the time, I'd been thinking of retiring, but I decided to postpone all that when I was offered this job. Yes, Hogsworth the First truly was a great mayor. I wish I could say the same for the second. I know I shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but Hogsworth the Second, well, his heart was never in the right place. He's just trying to live up to his father's name, I suppose. I'd say his greatest accomplishment was raising his son to be a great mayor after he'd stepped down. Follow me. Okay. And why wouldn't I? As Hogsworth III took over, he became the youngest mayor in town's history. He truly shaped the future of Hogtown as we know it today. And sticking to Hogsworth III ideas would guarantee our current Hogsworth his spot as mayor. Look for work. Bye, Perry! Yes, Hogsworth IV is a little slow, but he does the best he can. His son Reginald will make a fine mayor when the time comes. Now, dearie, Mrs. Hodgson needs to take a little break. The old hip's starting to give out. Bye-bye. There's so much to see.
I'm not made for this kind of work. I used to be a landscape painter, you know? Nobody cares about my paintings anymore. Ah, well, I'll just pretend I'm painting a big green hill. Looks like no one's home. Looks like no one's home. Why is the grass green? Why is the sky also green? Why do balloons float? Where are my shoes? And where are my parents? I don't know any of those answers. Looks like no one's home. Oh, look! Oh, he moved. Eesh, you gotta be careful nowadays. Cops everywhere you look. Luxury convertible, freshly waxed on a single scratch. Little white car with fuzzy dice and dried paprika hanging in the rear view. An art installation of a wood cutout painted to look like a fire hydrant. Such an interesting town. Hogmart, small family-owned grocery store that stocks everything from artificial melon products to reptile beauty care. Imitation melon? That doesn't seem cool. Ants! Ooh, a sale on oversized jelly beans. I should take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Artificial melons, watermelon, honey too, and won't-a-lope. 100% legal. Premium scale-growing shampoo not intended for mammals. Let's see, I know I have that 10 cents somewhere. 2 cents, excuse me. Price check on extra strength hairball removal. That's extra strength hairball remover. They're kidding me with the prices. Last week frozen peas are 72 cents. This week 88. I will get manager to fix this mistake. A family of ants is carrying chip crumbs into a crack in the wall. ATM. For use by Hog Bank members only, non-members will be charged a $200 service fee. Uh-oh. Hey, watch where you're going. I lost my pet ant around here somewhere, and I don't need you stepping on him. Oh, Anthony, where couldst thou be? You seem cool. Want to smoke with us? What do you want? You like my jacket? Well, I'm not going to tell you where I got it, so don't ask. Sorry, kid. Looks like the train conductor is on another one of his long breaks. I doubt he'll be back until tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning? Well, I guess I'm staying the night. Oh, they're gone. Have I gone up yet? Nope. A Hogtown Police Department van, the passenger seat is littered with donut crumbs and spilled toffee. Have you seen that many melons in one place? Where'd a kid like her get that kind of money? Who knows? I won't say a word either way. Well, just you wait until Captain Hamley finally gets a hold of this case. He'll make a talk for sure. She really stole from the wrong person. Can I help you? You know, I can only do one thing at a time. Keep sharpening these claws of mine or waste my time talking to the likes of you. Guess which one I'd rather do. Visiting the perp? Yeah, I knew you weren't here to visit me. I just got this shiny new badge, and even my own mother won't come visit me. Selling cookies or something? Get lost. Oh, I get it. You're here to testify against me. Well, go ahead. Tell him to give me the death sentence. See if I care. Hey, quiet that ruckus down. Huh? What's that? You want to know who RH is? What is this, some kind of setup? All right. I'll let you in on a little inside info. RH is... All right, visiting time's over. Hey, what about my one phone call? You already wasted that when you prank called the mayor. What? That was an important business call. I just want to know who RH is. All right, light green roof. Gotta be this one. Come on, KP, get those paws moving. No pain, no gain, little kitty. I'm trying. Meow. I haven't run this hard since the time you surprised me with the vacuum cleaner. It's playing Hamstar's latest song. Yeah, I got a bad feeling about this whole election. Me and the king have never seen eye to eye. But something's really different this time. Something I can't quite put my big muscular finger on. Ever since my father started running for mayor, he completely stopped having any time for his darling little daughter, also known as me. Ugh. If I get a single paw on his precious drawbridge, those freaking guards of his shoo me away as if I were just some common house cat.
Oh, it's her dad? Well, I definitely like him then. I shouldn't have said he was a crook. There's a beautiful tea set and an array of potted herbs. Hogtown's pretty different since the last time you and X were here. Could it be X just got lost and asking anyone for directions?
Jack, you hear about the story of when I fell in love with Kitten Princess? Working out like this really takes me back to a time when I was weaker than a scrawny little stick bug.
Can I go change my answer? Don't bother my camera anymore. We're making news here. Oh, Hamstar!
You know, Hamstar gets all the credit, but isn't my job more important? If I make one wrong move with the mixing board here, the whole show's ruined. They should put my name on the sign instead.
My feet are sore today. I mean, where to sit. Camped out all night so I could have front row seats. I overslept and everyone got in front of me. I'm not here to see Hamstar, I swear. I'm on my way to the dentist. It's just over there. Hamstar's so dreamy, but he's so short. I can never be with a man who's shorter than me. Oh, what am I going to do?
There used to be this dog who'd sit here every night and play guitar.
Nice, KK.
I wonder what happened to him. Oh, well, Hamstar's the future.
I can't believe Hamstar's putting on a free show. All the money he makes on admission is going to charity. He's so generous. Hamstar's got to be the hottest musician in Hogtown right now. He'd be #1 in Hamtown, too, except over there everyone's obsessed with some guy called the Hogstar. Sounds pretty lame if you ask me. I can't wait for the show to start. Come on, Hamstar.
Sorry, I can't let you pass this point for security reasons. Gotta protect the ham.
Oh, yay! I can get back here now. Hey, you're standing in my way. You want me to squash your toes? No, I don't. Oh. Beware of hog.
What are you doing in here? I'm trying to enjoy a peaceful day indoors with no noisy distractions. No, you're messing everything up.
So sorry. Photo of a young, happy-looking porcupine playing violin on the stage. The bottom of the pan is covered in sugar and burnt oats. The old computer, the internet browser is open to search for how to straighten bent needles. Inside are various half-empty cups of tea.
What are you doing in here? I'm trying to enjoy a peaceful day.
Bye. Who are you? Grandpa says not to talk to strangers. Besides, it's time for my violin practice. Nice. Oh, she just keeps going. Well, that was lovely. A mug of milk. Spice rack containing dry banana flakes, yellow peppercorn, and black sea salt. Toast. The back page of the Hog Time shows an ad that reads Kitten King for Mayor and a help wanted listing for a full-time toenail trimmer. Phone. It's Darla's personal phone. There's a sloppily placed sticker on it that reads Big Daddy 555-3825. Neatly organized collection of junior hound pup detective books. Realistic drawing of Darla's grandfather. Clock that stopped running at 12:09.
You got that racket out?
But I need to practice or I'll never make it into the Hogtown Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, give me that violin.
No. No! No! Mrs. Needles! It's not fair! Grown-ups are so mean and stupid!
Oh, Mrs. Needles is going off on Darla again. There, Darla. It's gonna be all right. This nosy little bunny's gonna help us out, ain't you? Yep, everything's gonna be just fine. When you got a problem, pawn it off on somebody else who's standing around looking bored. Works every time.
Yeah, except I'm more curious about these eyes. Hi. Boo! Oh, that was kind of bad. Hold on. Can I get a do-over? Boo! Yeah, I scared you. You think I'm scary, right? Yeah. Scaredy pants, do a dance, run home crying all the way to France. Give me back that violin.
Give me back the violin? Are you kidding? You know how much sleep I've lost because of that racket.
I don't care. Star's violin.
Don't touch that! It's mine now.
Star's violin.
Don't touch it! It's mine now.
It was mine. I want it.
She's always missing her accidentals, and her phrasing terrible. She's better off without this violin. You should be thanking me for returning peace and quiet to this neighborhood.
Give me back the violin! I want it back! Okay. I must not have the proper things yet. I'll get them.
You cop or something? Well, I ain't scared of you. Look me up, for all I care.
Lock me up, not look me up. Empty trash can. So, you know I never showed up with the pizza the other day? Yeah, what was that about? I ended up eating one of those gross hot dogs from Hogmart. What are they called? Hog dogs? They're called hot hogs, actually. Anyway, I was on the phone with a pizza place on my way over, but right when I told them what kind of pizza I wanted, something kind of weird happened. The ground opened up underneath me. I fell into a big hole. When I looked up, it was the cavity crew. They kicked my little butt. No way, seriously? You want me to beat them up for you? Yeah, right, Bailey. Like you could take them on. Okay, then. You want me to beat you up instead? Just messing with you, Percy. What kind of pizza did you order anyway? I want to know what I missed out on. Oh, it was a margarita pizza. Or was it margarita? I can never remember. Stupid Kitten King. He better get elected after all this hard work I'm putting in for him. Whoa! Did you guys see that? Could you move? Kind of trying to play Guava Story Hot and Sour Recollections here. Sorry about that, guys. Some weirdo just walked into my apartment. Put a 1 in the chat if I should give him the old 1-2 scratcheroo. Yeah, you're right, chat. It is time for a milk break. Chugging a gallon of milk. Some pasta in the drain. Gross! Garbage, it does smell bad. Laundry, it doesn't smell bad. That's funny. Mambo! Number 5. Hey, keep it down. What if someone's watching?
Don't worry about it. You came to the right raccoon. I got some high quality melon. You got the money? Because I got the stuff right here.
Huh? Because I was eavesdropping? That's funny. That's good stuff. Graffiti by Miss Ham, partially covered by a giant Mambo tag. Giant dumpster that smells uncharacteristic sweet, like vanilla sugar cookies.
What's the password, punk?
Margarita.
Nope. What's the password, punk?
Margarita. Ooh. The Cavity Crew. Cavity Crew, stay out of the sewer, and we'll stay out of our sewer. We'll stay out of yours. Days since last crime committed, 0. Vivian has the hots for Tiffany. No, I don't.
Hey, not so fast, punk.
And who might this be? We don't take kindly to outsiders. Got a Mambo.
Whatever you say, cuz.
Why not swallow them alive?
Hey, lay off, guys. I think I know who this is.
What? No way.
Yeah. Is that you, Check?
How do you know me?
I knew it. We got a big pop star fan on our hands here.
Not this again. Yeah, right, Pupstar. Everyone we meet is a big fan, huh?
I still remember when we first met. That was the summer I released my hit single. Yeah, I was on top of the world. Till that hamster came along. We'll never hear the end of this. You're probably wondering what the amazing pup star is doing down in the sewers, aren't you? Well, life hasn't been easy these past few years. I did some things I'm not proud of. Times were so much simpler back when a fresh pack of batteries were the answer to all my problems. Now I'm a degenerate. A no-good, lazy sack of dirt down in the sewers where I belong. Imagine if Hamstar saw me now. Imagine if he saw how far I've fallen. Of course, that little hamster would be too busy laughing all the way to the bank. Oh, makes me so mad. I swear, if I have to hear a Hamstar song one more time. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What? It's a catchy song. I should probably answer this. Hello? Oh, hey, Johannes. What? She's in jail? Uh-huh, sure. Talk to you later. Bye. All right, Cavity crew. We gotta get to the sheriff's office. And Mambo, bring some of that dynamite you found the other day.
Yes, ma'am. Are they gonna go explode Lily out of jail?
Hey, Popstar, how come you stay behind, huh? Where's your team spirit? It's just that Hamstar is out there playing a show. It really just bums me out to see him, you know? I mean, after what happened, I just start thinking about the old days. You know, Hamstar used to work for me back when I was still big.
Popstar, I gotta say, I've heard this story 100 times.
Well, why'd you stay behind?
Oh, that's because I was gonna change my bandana. Where did I,
Is it because you think Johannes will be there?
What? Johannes? What a joke! Him and Thievery Snake can do whatever they want for all I care. I mean, let's get going, Popstar. Lily's suitcase, favorite spot to sleep, and the only place she feels truly safe in. There's a stack of playing cards and some chewed up poker chips. Stocked full of illegally obtained melon. And melon toaster tarts. And home to a family of cockroaches. Vagabond Mouse's favorite chair. It has the lingering scent of a ham and Swiss sandwich. Its legs are held together by duckling tape. Trademark. The Cavity Crew's shared bathroom. You better off not entering.
Mambo, my favorite artist. I wish I could meet him one day. I bet he's the coolest guy in the world.
In the distance, you can see an abandoned building with a sign that reads Banana Product Processing Plant. Whoop! Attention, everyone! Don't forget to vote for the Kitten King so melons can be legalized in Hogtown.
Shut up already! I'm trying to drink my morning glass of milk in peace.
Oh, woe is me. I'll never find my poor Anthony. One minute we were playing by the garbage cans, the next minute he's gone. Woe is me.
Was that another dent in my door? I should have parked further away.
Hey, you kids! I know you did this! Stay away from my car! Bonjour, Hogtown! Thank you all for showing up. Sorry for the wait. We just had a few technical difficulties, huh? Everyone give a big hand for mon ami, DJ Chili. No!
Thank you. Should I say, merci?
All right, we'll be starting this show now. Whoa! They did it, didn't they?
What was that?
Did you hear that? Sounded suspiciously like an explosion. But I gotta head back in. Someone just ordered a pile of tortilla chip ravioli a la mode. Now, all times.
Gotta catch my breath. All this running is... Oh. You there! You're the one behind all this, I can tell by the look in your eyes. Plus, I don't see anyone else around. That right there is enough evidence to put you away for life. Better kiss your freedom goodbye, kid. There, that ought to sort you out. Now, off to arrest the rest of your criminal gang.
That's so dumb. So, you'll hire me, right?
Hell, my face, why don't you tell me why you're interested in working at Cafe Pio?
Well, I need a job to have money.
Go on.
You have money, right?
Sure, lots of it.
And you give your employees money?
Oh, yeah, sometimes.
And that works for me. Can I have the job now?
Sure, why not? Oh, that ham. He makes me want to eat jam. Oh no, he's infected my brain with his deceptively simple rhyme schemes. I can't let him see my face. I can't go past the stage, but I need to get down to the graveyard to meet up with the rest of the Cavity crew. Boy, there was some way to sabotage that concert.
Do I have to sabotage the concert? Wow, so you and Hamstar hang out all the time? That's so cool.
Yeah, me and Hamstar go way back. We were pretty much best friends back in high school. He used to let me carry his stuff around, even do his chores for him. Now I work on all his live shows. Yep, never let the mixing board out of my sight. It's out of your sight.
Oh no! Was that Hamstar's real voice? He's been lip syncing this whole time? What a fraud! No, this cannot be happening! I'm ruined! Oh no! We just ruined his life!
Mr. Star, wait! Okay, good.
We just ruined a career! Vote for the Kitten King. He'll make melons legal. Woo!
Anthony, you must be around here somewhere.
This water fountain's delicious. Almost as good as that fountain over there. Lots of suspicious happenings around here lately. Between those cheese freaks and the punks who never brush their teeth. This old graveyard ain't the place for a crow like me anymore, nope. Here lies Simon. Well, you never know. Rest in peace, Froach. You weren't the kindest boss, but you always made sure we had a pizza party every Friday, although it was dumpster pizza. Rest in peace, Bucky. A big boy deserves a big. Rest in peace, Ham Ghost, a loving father and faithful ghost, survived by his son, Ham Ghost Jr. Rest in peace, Lil Jerry. We loved your toasted puns. There's a poster on a tombstone that says, Jazz Ant Funeral Services coming soon. Rest in peace, Carolina, tragically crushed by a large prosthetic melon. Melon! Rest in peace, Mario, died shucking corn.
Oh. All right, everyone, I'm going to head out early today. But keep sawing that cheese, you hear? Later. I haven't seen you around before, you new recruit. We've been on the lookout for new members lately, like that lanky rat who lives in town, for instance. I think you might be in the wrong place. You're probably looking for the tomb next door. It's a common mistake.
Looks like only a mouse could fit through here. Why are they dressed like that?
Oh. Jack, did you see it? Did you see what happened? Hamstar. It was so good. The look on everyone's faces. What a fraud! I knew he couldn't possibly be singing and breakdancing at the same time. I could do it for sure, but him? Say, you weren't the one who exposed him, were you? Yeah. Check, you sly fox. I knew you were a true fan. Even after what I've become, you still care enough to do all that for me? That's it. I'm going to reclaim my title as the biggest pop star in Hogtown. I'm going to dedicate my first single to you.
Back ready for a work meeting. Catch you later. See you, Wit.
Finally got away from the cops. Blowing stuff up is fun. The others are down there, so go right in. Don't worry. I won't close the casket behind you.
That's not a vote of confidence, buddy. Hey, vagabond mouse. I think your cousin Mambo is starting to get a taste for crime. He handled that dynamite like a pro. Wait, where were you just now? What do you care, huh? You missed me or something? No, just leave me alone. Trouble in paradise. How'd you get in here? Gee, I wonder. It's not like Mambo goes around letting random strangers into our hideout all the time. Never mind that. Didn't I tell you everything back at the jail? You didn't? What was your question again? Oh, that's right. The name RH.
You're really starting to get on my nerves with this, but I guess I'll tell you. RH is... Not the one eye. Uh-oh.
Hey guys, what you doing down here?
Just got back a few minutes ago, and this game is interesting. Yeah, it definitely is.
You again, how many times do we have to tell you? Leave us alone! I just wanted to know what your secret meeting was all about. Why are you always so mean?
Okay, like I was saying, RH is Richard Ham. He's a pretty reclusive guy who lives around here near the castle. He really only hangs around with the Kitten King, but I see him meeting up with some shady types from out of town every once in a while. I don't see why you're looking for him, though. The guy's a huge dork.
Well, that was highly entertaining. Gotta run!
What's up with her?
Picked up the member's ring.
The guy you're looking for is Richard Ham. He lives around here, next to Kitten King's castle. It's kind of weird, though. Richard and melon seeds. Huh. Never would have thought.
Yeah, the game is definitely interesting. I'm into it so far. I'm enjoying the weirdness of it. Enjoying the narrative. It's definitely gone places I didn't expect. Okay, here's the castle.
Boy, am I glad the Kitten King decided to build this huge wall surrounding his castle. I ran out of bricks to count back in town, and now I can finally get back to my favorite hobby. Now, where was I again? This is such a great moat. Talk about water quality. I'm definitely voting for the Kitten King, especially if he's putting moats like this all over town. Hey, get out of there. You're sticking up the beautiful and pristine moat. The Kitten King is very strict about not letting commoners on the castle grounds. Scram. Uh-oh. Crocodiles these days. You just can't guard a moat in peace around here. Hey, stop! You can't walk here. This is property of the Kitten King. Get your smelly feet out of here. Your feet aren't smelly.
What is all this?
Harder! Harder! I will not have you all disgracing my court.
Mambo?
Jack, you gotta help me. I was just strolling through the forest, minding my own business, when all these sleazebags grabbed me and accused me of eating an apple or something. I don't even know. And that guy keeps banging his... Hands in the court! All rise! Look, you were there earlier when I wasn't eating an apple, right? So I'm innocent. Go up there and tell him, please.
I guess.
Oh, okay. Your Honor, I call to the stand check.
No, this came out in 2012 and then was re-released this year.
Now, do swear on your hog ancestors before you that you will tell the truth or else suffer grave consequences.
Yes.
The prosecution may now question the witness. Now, where were you 10 minutes ago when this apple was brutally bitten?
I was with Mambo.
With Mambo, you say? And how is that possible? When 10 minutes ago, Mambo was in fact taking a bite of an innocent young apple!
Oh, he's right. He's absolutely right.
Objection, Your Honor. I object. I hereby object. Object to what, might I ask? I'm innocent, no matter what they say, because, Jack, you tell everyone why.
Mambo is allergic to apples.
Well, then I ask you, if he were allergic to apples as you say, then wouldn't his current proximity to an apple have killed him by now? Oh, my life is flashing before my eyes. All the delicious, deadly apples I'll never get to try. Order! The law states that when the defendant is deceased, court is dismissed until a new defendant shows up. Let's go home, everybody. Psst, Jack, I'm not really dead. Suckers. Can't believe they fell for that.
Oh, law. Forget sometimes that recent games always put the most effort into their graphics. I don't think it's the lack of effort. I think it's intentional. Yeah.
I guess I gotta thank Mom for making me marathon all those soap operas with her.
Quest complete. Plead the Mambo number 5th. Ah! See? They made a Mambo number 5 joke. Look at that. So I just noticed those are the quests. So each character has a quest. Interesting. Ah, okay. Sorry, effort was a bad choice of words. No, I knew what you meant. There's a hamster-sized motor scooter called a Hund Hamster. Scarecrow wearing a Hogtown University class of 05 sweatshirt. What year is it now? Nope, that's not it, but maybe... Where is it? There's just too many characters in this game. I've run out of voices. You got a package? Richard's not around, but I'll sign for it. I'm his wife. Huh? You're not the mailman. Get out of here. I know it's here somewhere. It's a folder marked Kitten King. Look at page 1. There's a receipt for a campaign donation of $100K to the Kitten King from an unknown source. There's another receipt for farm equipment purchased by the Kitten King. That total is $92.92. There's an article from the Hogtown Times from 1 year ago titled Kitten King Begins Construction on Property Wall. When interviewed, the Kitten King declined to comment on the construction of the wall. Curiously, the wall extends a half mile beyond the castle grounds, covering a large portion of empty field owned by the king. Article for the Hogtown Times from 1 month ago about melon-related crime. Incidents of a melon-related nature are on the rise lately. Arrests for possession of melon products have almost doubled in last year. Hey, what are you doing snooping around? Oh, so that's what it was. I'll be taking this. Didn't anyone ever tell you not to go barging into people's houses and reading their secret documents? Back to it. A shoebox filled with photos labeled Our Trip to the Turnip Sea. Clothing and assorted toiletries in disarray. Smells like sunflower seeds. Wrinkled sweatshirts and sweatpants. What's this picture? A painting of a big boat or maybe a trash can? You dropped it again! Immediately! Picked up a newspaper scrap. You could stretch the voices by saying later characters are the evil twins of earlier characters you have voices for. Very true. Well, and the thing is I always try to do different voices, but there's no real sense in it because, I mean, think about, like, if you go places, a lot of people sound very similar to each other. I was supposed to go to the island with my friends for spinning practice, but I'm scared of boats, and the dog who pulls the boat scares me too. I mean, how is he that good at swimming? Also, I'm scared of sand. Plus, spinning makes me dizzy. Sounds like you are not supposed to be there. You're not going to pick those mushrooms, are you? Don't even think about it, Buster. This is my mushroom garden. I wanted to talk to you! Come on! I wanted to talk to that crab.
Whoa! Now there's a face I haven't seen in a little minute. Check, my bro. Long time no see. Get it? I said see. I said see. Don't worry. Drink a little more salt water, and soon you'll be able to appreciate a good joke when you hear one. Anything about me look different? So? Oh yeah, that's right. You're looking at a college graduate with a PhD in business and boat pulling. Me and Mulberry the Fish opened up a beach island resort, and I got all expenses ticket paid with your name on it. So, you coming? Let's go. Anything you need to take care of back in Hogtown first? Are we ready to set sail? I'm ready. Hold on, up on in and let me show you how fast this puppy can go. Glub, glub.
Oh, it's 11. We're going to take a break after this ad wraps up. When we make it to this island, we'll take a 3-minute break. Oh boy. I'm tired this morning. Anybody else tired this morning?
Here we are, just blows you away, doesn't it? But there's more, of course. Try out our two Brental's delicious drinks, and definitely make sure you don't skip out on the world-class views. Just one rule to keep in mind. Do not, I repeat, do not eat a fish fillet sandwich around Mulberry. Still haven't mentally recovered from what happened last time. Oh, almost forgot. Let me snap a pic so we can cherish this moment forever.
Aw, that's super cute. Picked up Ocean Pup's pic. Yahoo! Time to spin! Too bad our buddy Roland couldn't make it. Man, he's such a baby. We never have any fun with him around anyway.
Nothing else to do but start spinning.
There they go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Just keep going. I'll go forever. I got nothing else to do today. I got nothing to do. I can go forever. I can go for days. Try and stop me. You can't. You can't stop me, Misha. 100. This is fun. I'm sure glad I don't have anything super important I should be doing right now. That's right. I don't. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Quick break. Break time. Take a 3-minute break. Relax. look away from the screen, get a snack, stretch your legs, sit down, whatever you got to do. Take a quick little rest, and we'll see you back here in 3 minutes. Hey, thanks, John. We're going to take a quick 3-minute break. I appreciate you dropping in the chat. I know I've seen you follow kind of all around, so we'll be back in just a second. Don't worry. Friend or foe? Friend or foe? Foe. Why are they always foes? Oh, perfect. It's not beans. It is a little slip of paper. What? What a way to end stream! What a way to end stream! Do you guys want to know what Zando just pulled? Zando, there's only one of these. Out of all of the things in the bucket, there's only one. It was total luck. My friend, you have just earned yourself the exclusive Discord role of Gotcha King. Wow! Chats in the clap for Zando, the Gotcha King. You officially have a new role, a title in our Discord of Gotcha King. Only one. Big stuff, the Gotcha King Zando. We'll implement your role here in the next little while, hopefully by tomorrow at the latest. And wow, what a way to end stream, yo! This is super exciting. What? So this would have been 2011. I was cast as Mr. Body in Clue. That was a lot of fun. It's a great show. The second time I had to die on stage in a show. Something about this face people just want to kill. People want to see this face die. I don't know what it is. Yeah, see, they're big old boys, huh? One hitters. We're just fine with that. Oh, not one hitters. 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 They're not, in fact, one hitters. They are sometimes two. But it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that ring.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
I just beat you in Fortnite, master of the mystic arts.
Victory is mine.
Kayaba. Does make sense. But I did definitely forget. Oh my goodness! I am so far away from you! Stop targeting me. Off we go into the wild blue yonder. Whoa, 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 whoa! That is a shiny! That is a shiny alpha! Are you kidding me right now? Please let me save! Please let me save! I need to save right now! Are you kidding me? That is a shiny alpha Vulpix! Neo! Oh! What is happening? That is so lucky! That is so incredibly lucky! Okay, that's fine. Whoa! Alright. We got this. Okay. Whoa. Please don't die. Please don't die. Welcome back. Alright, we're back into it, folks. Let's get back into the game here. And sorry, John, to immediately hop out after you hopped in the chat. We try and take a 3-minute break every hour during our stream to try and practice healthy streaming habits, because I think that some people stream too long without taking enough breaks. And so we try and model that by taking breaks every hour. So there you go. That's what we were doing. That's why we just took a quick intermission. And now we're back in this game. So we're playing Melon Journey. And it's an interesting game so far, trying to figure it out. We're looking for our friend, X, and we are check, and currently not having much luck. We are on a private island for whatever reason. Oh cool, I like that the sand goes with this. That's kind of fun. Oh, I'm pressing spacebar. My bad. Didn't do anything anyway. But yeah, John, I've seen your name pop up in several spaces over on YouTube, over on all of our various platforms. Appreciate you giving us follows, and let me know anything I need to know about you, or if you have any questions about Checkpoint as you're working, let me know. I'm happy to answer.
Ahoy, matey, welcome to the newest and most swelteringly coolest island destination lying centrally between the muskmelon seas. Yes, it's I, gracing your presence before you, Mulberry the goldfish, wanderer of the seas, defender of the guppies, challenger of the eels. With my newly acquired business something, take a look around, and don't forget to check out our world-class views.
Excuse me, you're blocking the light.
Trying to take a picture to post on Instagram. One Hog Island iced tea coming right up. Huh? You don't have any money. This ain't a charity, you know. Yuck. Artificial melon beer tastes more like mildew than melon. I gotta get my money worth.
Sorry, Blue, how could this happen to moi? I am Hamstar, the one and only. You cannot do this to Hamstar.
Phew, that guy on the lookout is totally looking this way. What a creep. Must be looking at me, since there's no way he'd want to look at you. Most people put on a bathing suit before getting in the pool, but you just go for it. Wow.
Roots.
Oh, the lookout.
Huh? Spying on hot chicks? Would I do something so perverse? I was just looking at the Kitten King's castle, that's all. Look through binoculars and see for yourself. Sure enough. What? What? Susan Ham? As I watched the sunset, I had a lot on my mind. Am I getting any closer to finding X, I wondered? I knew that Richard Ham, whoever he was involved somehow. And at that moment, following Susan Ham was my only lead. What? I'm doing the right thing? I totally felt like I was off on a tangent. Can you believe that Starham guy thinks he can stay after hours just because he's a big shot? Ha! So this is what you can do to Hamstar? Break his spirit and soul? And though my vocal coach also did not believe in me, he told me I have the voice of a baboon. With the power of technology, I was able to change my voice and fulfill my dream of becoming Europe's biggest pop star. Now all is lost. No one in the world could possibly love one such as I. And now I feel myself start to cry. The image of you fading away. Here I am calling to you, babe, babe, babe. You're still here. Did you want to hear more about the real estate business, or were you seeking my financial advising services? Huh. Looking for Ocean Pup. Oh, I see. Well, he must be around here somewhere. Ocean Pup! The remains of a once great sand empire.
Ahoy, Jack! I was just doing a few laps thinking about my parents, not the dolphins who raised me, but my actual parents who gave birth to me, you know? I don't know the full story, but apparently they just dropped me in the water when I was a baby. You think they're out there somewhere wondering what happened to me? Sorry, you probably want to head back, huh? Yep. All right, let me grab the boat.
They're leaf blowing literally right outside my door right now. And I have a feeling it's so incredibly loud.
Well, think I'm gonna call it a night. There's a seaweed sandwich waiting at home with my name on it. See you later, Pond Skater.
Bye. Crab! Talk to me, Crab! Talk to me, Crab!
You saved my life. The crab was 10 seconds away from pinching my nose clean off. I'm not safe yet. I just need to make it through the woods, and it's full of freaky frogs. Will you walk back into town with me? Yes. This pool floaty will protect my fragile body from danger, and you shall protect me from myself. What?
What's the crow? I saw who did it. It was a big old mole. Gobbed them shrooms right up. Of course, what do I know? I'm just an old crow. I thought at first the leaf blowing was a sound effect of Ocean Pup pulling the boat through the water. That would be cool.
Say, this little buddy is interrupting our beautiful song, Ribbit. Am I right, boys? I'd say you're as right as rain, brother. Interrupting a frog song is not only an inexcusable act, utterly inexcusable. Uh-oh, I'm getting a little upset here, fellas. I feel a deep croak rising in my belly. Only one thing I can do, and a one, and a two, and a...
Okay. Bye.
Thanks for walking with me. I can take it from here. Why do you look so concerned? It's just a graveyard. What do I look like? Some kind of scaredy hog baby?
No,
scare me! Aw, rats. You scared the wrong kid. Hey, you! If you see Ham Ghost Jr., you tell him I'm looking for him, okay? I need to teach him a lesson he'll never forget.
Whoa!
Spooky. Yo, we need to talk now! So, who are you and Vagabond Mouse talking about? How do you know the what? Why did they let you into their gang and not me? Where'd you show up from all of a sudden anyway? Did they make you go through initiation? Did you get a tattoo? Come on! Let me join the Cavity Crew too, please! This has been my ultimate lifelong dream ever since I was a baby ghost. So you see, you just gotta help me join. I've got all these dope skills and talents, dude. Like spying on people, walking through walls, and of course, the patented Ham Ghost switcheroo. Spying on people? I love spying! In fact, most of my friends are actually just people that I spy on every day. Like Mrs. Ham. I watch her and Mr. Ham eating dinner every night and pretend I'm part of their family.
Susan and Richard Ham?
Yep, wait, you know him too? You know, I haven't seen him around lately. This isn't good. What if they need me? I mean, I know you've never actually talked face to face, but still! You want to tag along? Kind of weird, but alright. Now that I'm an official member of the Cavity Crew, I'll do whatever the lieutenant says. You lead the way.
Is that Johannes? Have that off. I'll see you at the Checkathon. God bless. See you, Marin. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Checkathon happening. All right, everyone. So that cheese. Yes, this is great. I've always wanted to lead a gold. Thanks for bringing me that ring earlier. I couldn't have done any of this without you. I finally found my true calling in life. I never brought you a ring. I guess that was something I was supposed to do, huh? Oops. Oopsie doopsie. Looks like I dropped the ball.
Someone ate all my mushrooms. Who could be evil enough to eat all the little babies I was guarding? They're not for eating, they're for loving.
I just spent my entire life savings to take that apple biter to court, and what good did that do? That mole not only faked his own death to get our trial dismissed, now he's suing me for defamation of character. He's gonna take every last penny I've got. What am I gonna do? It's totally fruitless, I tell you, fruitless!
Oh, come on. I thought you could walk through walls. I thought you were going to walk through walls for me.
Check this out. Boo!
Ah, let us in, help, help. It's a horrifying, sinister scary ghost out here. I don't think anyone can hear us. It's every kitten for himself. Run!
Are you completely mad? Why are you not fleeing for your very life? Run, run, I tell you!
Yeah, you better run if you know what's good for you. Okay, now you just stand right there and watch me. I dare you to say this isn't cool. Make sure you're watching.
3 hours later.
Woo! Ham Ghost Jr.'s done it again, folks. Dad, are you watching from up there? Hope I made you proud. So, you wanna know what happened in there? Well, make yourself comfortable as I weave the tale that'll blow your mind. So there I was, inside the Kitten King's castle, undetected, like a cobra about to strike. Suddenly, one of the guards spotted me. I didn't scream or cry. I readied my fist to fight. Yeah, I was about to bust out the phantom puncher on him. But it turned out he was just pointing at the Kitten King, because he had a piece of cat food stuck in his teeth. Then Mrs. Ham came barging into the room. She looked pretty angry. I kind of forgot why she was angry, though. Let's see. She said something about Richard Ham, secret folder. The king was like, where was I again?
Kitten King?
So it seemed like he ate a lot of salmon earlier, because his breath seriously stank. Also, he wasn't scared of Miss Ham at all until she got out her secret folder for some reason.
Secret folder?
Miss Ham started reading off all these pieces of paper and screamed, I'll make sure they all find out that you rigged it. So tell me what you did with my darling husband. Or something like that. So the king told her where Mr. Ham went.
Where he went.
Yeah, so it turns out he's been hiding in the... Hey, wait a second. Why do I have the feeling we're not really on official Cavity Crew business? There's no way they'd care so much about something as boring as this. We should be on a heist. Or a high-speed car chase or something. Have you been lying to me? Are you trying to get me to haunt you until the end of time? Did you forget that I'm a ghost? Okay. I'll forgive you. Under one condition. You talk to Thievery Snake and make her give me a real mission or else.
No, I want to know where Richard Ham is! All right. I guess we go to the snake now. Whoop.
Don't forget to talk to the coyote crew for me.
Did that tree just move?
Almighty Ham Ghost, where are you? Please send me a sign. I know you're listening.
Okay. Whoa.
These stupid rollerblades. I'll never learn how to use these. Why don't you take them off my hands for me? I just want them out of my sight.
Are the rollerblades, does that mean I can move fast? Yeah! Double trouble, baby!
This guy isn't funny at all. He's pretty tall, though. So, anyone here from Bug City? Ooh, Bug City sucks! Yeah. So, I was in Bug City the other day, and you know, people over there are really different. Like, for example, people here in Hogtown say, "Get off the stage!" Well, yeah, they do say that sometimes. So, yeah, I was walking down the street in Bug City, like I was saying, and this guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey, man." And I was like, "Hey, yeah, right, that never happened." You're right, I made the whole thing up. But I did it for the sake of comedy. Is that really so wrong? I would do anything for my fans. If that's a crime, well, then I say lock me up and throw away the key. Hamstar's always getting himself into messes like this, and there's no way we can pay off the press like last time. Everyone saw him for what he truly is, a sad, sorry excuse for him. Oh, what am I gonna do? If I don't find that aux cable, I won't be able to listen to my Melon Milk Motel album on the ride back.
Trash. What's the point? As soon as we clean it up, someone comes along and makes an even bigger mess.
We're here at the scene of the tragic incident that occurred earlier today. Yes, folks, it is here that Hamstar, the apple of Hogtown's eye, was revealed to be a complete and a fraud.
Oh, I see. You just put them on. You don't hold it down. Aw. Some people really have no sense of privacy, right? They just go around eavesdropping all day long. Yeah, can they just go and watch TV for entertainment? What do I look like, Barbara Walrus or something? That's a good one. That's a good one. Barbara Walrus is real fun. Oh, check, it's getting late. Have you had any luck tracking down X? I have a few leads. Oh, that's great news. Will you stay for a cup of tea? I'd love to chat more if you have the time.
Now this is some good Earl Green tea, brewed by my beautiful and intelligent kitten, Darling. Why don't you leave us alone already? Get lost, weirdo. Please don't tuck your shirt. Yeah, you guys are so crazy. Oh, it's you. I finally did it. I dropped out of society. I'm free, baby. Life's been great so far. I've made friends with some like-minded individuals.
Creepy guy's been following us around all day. What's his deal? He was calling us fellow troubled youths. Can he, get a life or something already? I wanted to hang out with my dad all day. I would have followed around in his footsteps and become a stupid astronaut. Ugh. Travel to space, float around with that tyrant? I need my personal space, you know? Keep hitting the wrong button.
Spare some change. No, I was just about to beat the world speedrun record for the hit game 2D Jumpin' Man. This is totally not hoggy. Oh, thanks for the donation, Jerry the Landlord 1967. Yeah, you're right, Chad. It is time for a milk break.
Guy takes a lot of milk breaks, gotta say.
Whoa, this art style, love it. Where is this game at, yo? This is Melon Journey. It was originally a game on itch.io, and they just did a remaster full version of it that I'm playing called Melon Journey Bittersweet Memories. It's very funny. I'm loving the aesthetic, love the art style, and the story is very silly. Wait, who is Hedgenold again? Hedgenold's the kid. No, make it stop! Keep it coming, Pupstar. immediately wishlisted it on Steam. It's real fun so far.
No, I can't stand cheap scents. Good thing you're here. This is the mayor's son. Dumb little guy, ain't he? But his dad's even dumber. Like we've been calling him all day, but he's too senile to notice his own son's missing. How do you like that, Reginald? Someone help! We really need the ransom money to pay for a little getaway trip. But the thing is, East Hogtown ain't too safe for us wanted criminals right now. So why don't you go in our place? Here, take this.
Hogsworth yo-yo?
Mayor Hogsworth should be in his office in Town Hall. When he sees that you have his yo-yo, I'm sure he'll realize that something else is missing too. Don't try anything funny. That way we won't have to break your legs.
We never have anything good to eat.
I need you to let the ghost be your assistant.
Man, this kid is annoying. This is why we never do kidnappings.
Oh yeah, you can't stop my jams, baby. Popstar's back in action. Look out, Hogtown. The next big Popstar is coming in hot.
Okay. I guess I gotta go take the yo-yo. So glad. Oh wait, what's up, Lily? I didn't notice you here. Ham Ghost Jr. wants to join the Cavity crew. I'll have to talk to Thievery Snake about that, though. I don't think it's gonna go over too well. Well, if I do her a favor, maybe she will. Dumpster party! Yahoo! A giant dumpster.
Dumpster Party Tuesdays is such a good idea. Just imagine how much better it'd be if we had some music to dance to.
Am I supposed to find you some music? What kind of music did you have in mind? Oh good, she's making copies.
Yes, I'll be with you in one moment. Mrs. Hogson! Mrs. Hogson!
Hey, yes, Mayor?
Mrs. Oh, there you are. It's about my yo-yo. Have you gotten any leads?
No, sir. I've asked everyone at the retirement home. No one's seen it in weeks.
This is more serious than I previously imagined. We'll have to put out a bounty on that yo-yo's safe return. Issue a special mayor's bulletin and alert to the townsfolk that anyone who returns my missing yo-yo will be given a great reward.
Mayor's bowling pins. I'll see what I can do.
Now, what can I... Wait just a moment. Is that my yo-yo? Where did you find it? Reginald had it, huh? I trust he's doing well these days.
I'm here for his ransom.
Oh, well, there's no need to flatter me like that. I haven't been called handsome in years. Reminds me of my school days, actually. Yes, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a crisp autumn morning during my time as a student of Hogtown University. I had been napping on a bench all morning, but I suddenly awoke and remembered I had somewhere to be that day. I was to compete in the first annual Hogtown Worldwide Yo-Yo Championship competition. I'd been waiting my whole life for this moment. In fact, they say I was born with a silver yo-yo in my paw.
Oh, I'm controlling him. I love it.
And then... I'm awake. Now, let's see. Oh, yes. You brought my precious yo-yo back safe and sound. I'll just have to think of a suitable reward.
Oh my gosh. What is he gonna give me?
Here's a key to the city. They told me to stop handing this out. I'm mayor of the town. I'll stop handing out the keys to the city when I'm dead.
Got a key to the city.
What a stressful day it's been. Just think, Reginald's probably frolicking in the fields having the time of his life. Not easy being mayor, I'll tell you that much.
What do I do with the key to the city?
Oh. Cavity crew coming through. Heave ho, heave ho. It's the Cavity crew. We don't eat like you. We like sweet and juice, something else too.
Hey, listen, I got.
So, did you get the reward money? What do you mean Hogwarts still doesn't care? Hear that kid, your old man can't even tell you're missing. What a sad state of affairs. I'm sure he cares. He just... Stay out of this, Mambo.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait a sec, what are you holding? Ah, big dumb key. I bet Lily knows what this is. Hey, come check this thing out, Lily. Oh, let me just, Lily, wait! Oh, whatever. I guess this whole mission was a bust. But still, running off by herself again after what happened this morning, I'm gonna need to have a talk with her one of these days. Psst, don't forget about our agreement! Huh? You say something? You want me to let that little ghost rat join the crew? No, wait. He already thinks he's an official member? Great, just great! Looks like your legs are gonna be broken after all. Hold on, Tiff! Do we need them for our next plan? You know, the one with the faces and removing them and making a hit motion picture? I swear, how do I keep getting caught up in these situations? Listen up, tell that dumb freak to go find us a golden lockpick. Nice one. If we can retrieve the golden lockpick, then I'll consider him a real member of my crew.
Poor Reginald. If your dad doesn't pay up, something's gonna happen.
These ropes are a little tight.
I'll loosen it up for a bit, bud.
I'm free! Mambo, you idiot! Why did you untie him?
I didn't mean to. I was just trying to loosen his ropes a little.
Oh well, there's plenty more rich people around here for us to kidnap. What was the point of any of it? What was the point of any of this? Where's Reginald now? Criminal! Dad, that's one of the criminals who kidnapped me!
Reginald, please settle down. You can't just go around accusing people of being cannibals without any evidence.
Dad, you never listen. I'm running away. I'm never coming back.
That son of mine has such an imagination. Must be because of all those computer games and whatnot. Say, are you one of Reginald's friends? I'm so happy to hear that. That boy has never been any good at making friends.
Well, I gotta go find Lily. And I gotta go tell the ghost. Whoopsie.
Oh, there you are. So, did you tell Thievery Snake how cool and smart and talented and special I am? What? Golden Lockpick? The one used by the legendary thief scoundrel S-Sound? That Golden Lockpick? Check, you know with that I'll be basically unstoppable, right? Where am I gonna find that? It's gotta be around here somewhere. By tomorrow morning, the world shall know me as... the Fearless Bandit Shadow King Ham Ghost Jr.
Okay. Well, I gotta find Lily, so... Some cat with a big bandana just knocked me right over. Let me spill a bag of bug seed. Now what am I gonna do to feed Anthony? What? You don't know which direction you went? You don't care about me at all? No one cares about me or my bug seed. I knew it! I had a feeling!
Interesting. Well, this changes everything. Who would have thought the king was... Ah! Of course it's you again. Mad I stole your key? Sorry, but it's just so easy. I mean, you hold everything so loosely. Here, shake my paw. Man, that's a weak grip. You got carpool tunnel or something? Anyways, what do you want now? Here to extract more information from me? The mountains, cool. Guess you just see me as your personal tour guide. Ugh. Mountains are north of here, right past this fence. Didn't you pay any attention in geometry class? Well, I got what I need, so I'm gonna skedaddle. There you are. Don't you know how sick I am of chasing after you all the time? You can't just go running off whenever you feel like it. You could have gotten in trouble again, and we wouldn't be there to help you. Like I need you guys to rescue me. I know what I'm doing. Listen, Lily, we're a team. But you only ever think about yourself. Maybe you just don't belong with the cavity crew. Maybe I don't want to be a part of your stupid crew anyway. I'm through with this. She's always like this, but I'm not chasing after her. Lily's not like the rest of us, you know. For us, the cavity crew's all we got. But Lily's so stubborn, she threw it all away. I can tell you what I know if you care that much. See, Lily has this brother, kind of a rebellious type. One day her brother gets into some trouble with the law, spends a couple days in jail for melon possession until his parents come get him. Now their parents are important people, lawyers or something. So the kid reflects poorly on them, and they decide to kick him out of the house. But Lily loves her brother and hates her parents for it. Even more, her brother insists he's innocent, that he was set up by the cops. She feels totally betrayed by her parents, so she decides to run away and move in with her brother. But he probably didn't want his kid sister bugging him, because she ended up wandering the streets with no place to go. And that's when we found her. Aw, shoot. I guess someone should go see if she's alright. I want to go in the shed. That's what I want to do. So many melons. The Kitten King is hiding all this? Uh-oh. Huh? Must have been the wind. Please tell me I'm not about to go stealth. Am I gonna have to stealth the 2D game right now? Hey, what's going on out here? I'm sweating. My microwave mac and cheese is ready. Piping hot. Lever to ride the gondola? Yeah, of course. You sure if you're not forgetting anything? Okay, I guess there's more to do. Okay, why not? I mean, sure. They really want me to do these side quests, huh? Fine, I'll find Lily. All right, Norman, enough nonsense. Take a bath now.
That's not my name, it's Big Daddy.
Well, either way, you're getting in the bathtub.
I'll never take a bath. I smell great already.
Norman, don't make me come up there. Is she watching The Price is Right?
I'm not gonna take a bath. I like to stink. It makes me look tough.
The drain is what looks like a melon seed? What? There's a sign that says no trespassing. That means you, Captain Hamley. Family photo showing Big Daddy at tap dancing class and Captain Hamley arresting his 1 millionth criminal. Captain Hamley has a melon seed in his house? What? Talk about controversy. This game is super cute. I was half out of it and heard you telling them to take a bath and thought you were telling that to me for a moment and was real confused. Yeah, I don't think that'll be a boundary that I ever cross with anybody at Checkpoint. I don't think I'll ever have to tell you to take a bath. I tell my daughter that enough. I wonder if, what's his name is back. Every time I hear this song, I think it's the Caillou theme song. There's gotta be an empty cup in here somewhere. Aha! What are you doing, Lily? Come on! I bought a coffee here this morning, I swear. Give me a free refill. Don't you have anything more important to do than come and bother me? Oh no, I gotta hide. Lily? Is that really you? I saw your face on a wanted poster, so I knew you were still in town. Lily, I came to tell you that you need to quit that gang of yours. What gang? Oh, those losers. I already dropped them. You did? Then please come home. Come home? Mom and Dad don't want a criminal like me in their house. They didn't even want you, and you were innocent the whole time.
It's not like that anymore. They sent me to bring you back.
Yeah, right. More like taking me to jail. I could never trust them after what they did to you.
Come on, Lily. Just go talk to them and you'll see.
Forget it. Not in a million years.
There's something I have to tell you. Back then, when no one believed I was innocent, well, they were right. I was selling melons to kids from school. I never thought I'd get caught.
You're not lying, are you?
No, it's the truth. Just think about coming home, okay?
Quest complete. They haven't trained me yet, so don't order anything unless it's a glass of water. Okay, was that it? Is there anything else that the sheriff has to tell me? It's locked. He'll just lock me up again. Take it slow, Percy. You don't want to end up back in the hospital. Don't worry, I'll be fine if I can just reach back. Percy! Oh no. Should I have been going in here every time? Is this like a running gag? There goes the bravest man ever stocked the shelves at Hogmart. I'll try to remember to check it every day now. That's really funny.
You've come at a perfect time. I was just reminiscing on the days of my youth with no one to tell my stories to. A little closer. A little closer. Sorry, just chewing on some raw garlic earlier. You know what they say. Raw garlic each day keeps the ladies away. Wait, that's not it. Anyways, what was I saying? And who are you? My doctor says I should keep locks on my house. Darla! Oh, where is that girl?
My violin. What am I going to do without it?
Hey, Darla, it's me again. So, you know that new tag I was working on? I finished it, so yeah. Also, I've been working on a sick drum solo. Maybe you can sweep out some time to check it out. Hello? Darla? You there?
I wonder if we will get to Act 3 tonight. Okay, there's nobody left in here. I think we've done everything we need to do, so we can go and get on the gondola. See where that takes us. I think I've done everything. The gondola! Alright, perfect. I'm a talking lever, by the way. Yep, bet you never seen one of those, have you? Are you surprised, shocked, amused? Sorry for questioning so much. It just gets kind of lonely up here. No one ever comes to visit me. Ah, you must hate me. I'm sure you get more important places to be. Just go up, go ahead and leave already. So quirky. So quirky. I love that. I really do love the tiny little green animated everything. It really does feel like I'm playing it on a Game Boy. There's actually that console called the Playdate. If you've never heard of the Playdate, that's what it really reminds me of. I feel like this would be a perfect game for the Playdate. Uh-oh. Doesn't seem to be working. That's not good. Ah. Pythagoras? Slip, slip, slip. Looks like someone's been ice fishing, but they haven't realized that the bait's already been chewed off.
A hearty chowder of pickled eel and peeled pickles. That's funny. Hey yo! What's up, Moviga? How we doing? Welcome in. We're glad you're here.
We don't get too many travelers passing through these parts. In fact, we moved here for just that reason. After what happened, it's better this way.
That one viewer rage, you love to see it. Hey, look, I will take it. What you been up to, Lee? How is life? How are things going? One thing I know in this life is that there's always wood to chop. Just make sure you watch out for splinters. Youch! Oh! Oh my goodness, that was Susan Ham! Susan Ham! Susan Ham herself! Oh, it's a snowball. Just finished some editing. Life is good. Just got back from a trip to see that family. Gotcha. Rock on. Hey, thank you, Trombone, for the shout out for Moviga. Folks, an awesome podcast. If you've never taken the time to listen to Moviga podcast, what are you thinking? Listen to Moviga. We stand. Lee is their fearless editor. Ay, you rolled me up! But you know what? I kind of like it. No achievement for that? Nate is their best listener. I am. I've listened to every episode.
Susan, baby, what are you doing up here? What the?
How could you run off without saying anything?
I was just trying to protect you, babe.
What would you know about that? I can't take this anymore. It's time for you to make a decision, Richard.
What are you talking about, hon?
Your opinion on whether or not people should listen to the podcast, Mr. Listen to every episode. Exactly. True commitment. Richard, I'm pregnant. Whoa! Whoa! This story, I swear, I'm playing a kid's game. Like every now and again, I'm like, this is like a kid's game. And then it throws things like this at me. What's happening right now?
I'm gonna be a father.
Not so fast, Rich. If you think I'm gonna raise you a child in a household of crime, you got another thing coming.
Oh, Susan, why didn't you say something sooner? I'll call the old Kitten King right now and tell him I quit.
Came here for that pixel, stay for that baby mama drama. Huh? Mailman's back?
Huh? What are you, a wise guy or something? Can't you see I'm trying to talk to my beautiful wife here?
How do you know X?
X? What kind of stupid name is that? Oh, it must have been a shipment for me. Look, I don't usually learn the names of species of the folks I deal with. That's just business.
Richard, what did we just talk about this business of yours?
Right. No sense in worrying about that anymore. So, the Kitten King's got a second cabin up here in the mountains for use by our associates. If this X is working with the Kitten King, you might want to check that out. That's all I got for you.
Melon Farm?
Why should I tell you? I don't know nothing about no Melon Farm. Whoa! What's a little documentation? All right, fine, if you're gonna twist my arm. The King's growing melons to help him with the election.
Why melons?
Come on, you don't get it? If everyone in town hooks on melons, they're all gonna vote for him to legalize them, right? The extra cash flow don't hurt his campaign neither. Guess I'll be finding another source of income now. Hey, maybe I'll get the old band back together. What do you think, Susan?
Susan didn't respond! Oh no, Susan! Do you really mean it, Richard? You'll become an honest ham?
Of course I mean it. You'd better.
You'd better, or else I'll just have to go and find a better man to be the father of my babies.
Come on, Toots. Don't be like that.
I've been half listening and have zero clue what is happening or the plot of this. Well, the major plot is that we're looking for our friend. And we've spent the entire past 2 hours looking for our friend. That's the plot. The deeper plot is that there is a political campaign going on in secret in Hogtown.
Who goes there? It's been so long since anyone has noticed me. No, do not lay your eyes upon me. I am but a useless old man, no longer needed in this world. I will live out my cruel fate in solitude, for I am the bear who lost everything. Now begone, for all those who cross my path are forever plagued by a great sorrow.
On your way, tough luck. I happen to enjoy standing in the spot, so why don't you just buzz off? What are you gonna do? Hit me over the head with a shovel? Yeah, I guess I will. I'm just gonna go find a shovel real fast. Let me go find a shovel. I'm pretty sure there was one right here. Snow shovel. I should ask if I can borrow it. Okay. You want to borrow our shovel? Why don't you ask Pop over there what he thinks? He's the one who's always using that thing. Gonna swing by and annoy Luke for a moment or two. BRB. See ya. We'll be hopping off in about 13 minutes. If Luke is still streaming, I'll be happy to raid him.
I prefer this sort of solitary life. Got used to it when I was a fisherman. My fishing days, that's how I lost this toe, you know. Biggest fish you ever seen, bit it clean off. I didn't stop him out loving the sea. Tell him, honey. Tell him how big that son of a gun was.
Sure, Sydney.
Still, the sea never lost its charms for this old man. That's where I met my Devora, you know. Prettier than the shiniest seashell on the shore, and tougher too. We sailed out to sea every night. Even took our little boy out there with us. Till that night when...
Honey, is that stew ready yet?
Well, let's just say after the incident, we moved as far away from the sea as we could.
Oh, don't listen to those tall tales. He always acts up when we get company. Isn't that right, Sid?
Was it? You need to borrow a shovel? Well, don't look at me, that's up to Mama.
Fine, the shovel's yours. But how about you bring us some salt first, then I'll let you use it. We just ran out, and salt's important, you know. Builds strong bones, they say. I don't know where to get salt. I fell. This photo. That nose. Those eyes. It can't be, Sydney, look, it's...
I didn't step on you, did I? Sorry about that. It's our son!
He's still alive.
Okay.
Oh, what's this? A snow over pile of wood, apparently discarded by Mama for being too symmetrical. Oh, am I in your way? Tough luck.
I happen to enjoy standing in this spot, so why don't you just buzz off? What are you gonna do about it?
Hit me over the head with a shovel?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! No need to get violent.
Am I finally gonna find X? I can't see anything. Is someone here?
Check! You made it.
How did you find me here? You must have been following all the same clues I've been following. The meeting in town?
Sorry I never showed up. I just got a bit sidetracked. See, I've been doing some investigating on behalf of Eglantine Industries. That's what I wanted to talk to you all about.
I think somebody's been stealing seeds from the factory and smuggling them into Hogtown. If the police traced it back to Eglantine Industries, the company would be in big trouble. I've been tracking down this thief so I could put an end to all this. What about melon seeds? My briefcase? Maybe someone was trying to frame me. Make it look like I'm the thief. They don't realize I've been on their tail this whole time. Is it Walter? Is it Walter? Looks like they just left this cabin. They couldn't have made it too far. Come with me and we'll catch the thief once and for all. Let's go. It's this way. I'll go ahead and follow right behind you. It's X. No! Oh my gosh! What are you talking about?
Hello? Yes, sir. No, there wasn't any trouble. The job's almost done. Yes, right away, sir.
What? What is going on?
Don't write check. This'll all be over soon.
X! Where am I? Not in the last 10 minutes of stream. Not in the last 10 minutes of stream, please. Not in the last 10 minutes of stream, please. Not in the last 10 minutes of stream. What are you talking about? You can't do this to me. Not in the last 10 minutes! What? What do you even mean? Do you not see where I am, Lee? What is going on? This game was a, indie RPG maker. I was just venturing around. Now all of a sudden I got tied to a tree, beaten over the head. I'm in a weird in between, maybe Deadland. Your life check! No! Not in the last 10 minutes! What is even happening? Is that me without ears? It's me. The real me. Am I dead? Don't you know already? No, it can't be. I have to get back. You really don't get it, do you? Come here. No. No! No, I still have more to do! You! This is all your fault. You're just a rotten thief. I hate you. I hate you! It's your fault, isn't it? Just admit it. Okay, so I'm to blame. Where was everyone else? Why didn't anyone help me? But they did. Whoa! This is not where I expected this game to go. This is not at all where it was leading. This does not add up. This is not what was supposed to happen. I was just solving an adorable mystery and learning about Carl Melon and trying to figure out what to do next. And now, what is happening? I thought it was going to be a goofy, silly mystery, and that Walter was going to be framing X. Janet, why didn't I just stay at the office and do my work? That wouldn't have made any difference. But I'd be safe now, right? Right? What is actually going on? There's X. X, what's happening? What did you do to me? Can't you just tell me what's going on? I don't know. Am I gonna be okay? I don't know. I just want things to go back to the way they used to be. Everything was so simple then, and we were happy, right? I don't know. Follow me. Ah, X. You finally decided to show your face. This is my last time coming here. I'm not going to do your dirty work any longer. I'm done delivering melon seeds to Hogtown. I figured out your little scheme. Using the Kitten King to spread melons around town so everyone will vote for him. And then once he's elected, you'll...
I must say again, I have no idea what you're talking about. If this is about money, then I'm sure I can convince you to continue the work that you've been doing. Anyways, you look thirsty. Here, have a drink.
No. I don't need your money anymore. I'm breaking all ties. You know, I've been compiling evidence for a while now. I have enough of it that if the HBI ever got a hold of it, they'd... Hold on. What was I saying?
Feeling hydrated, X. Listen carefully. You'll now do whatever I ask of you, no matter what.
Yes, sir.
Now, you will continue with your deliveries. And I don't want to hear any more complaints.
Check? Check? Check, wake up! Oh, thank goodness you're okay. You had me so worried.
Yeah, KP, you don't got any more faith. Check's stronger than that, right?
Strong enough to withstand the strong dog super deltoid slam, apparently.
Hey, sorry about that. When I'm in the heat of the moment, I just start swinging and let my fist do the talking. It worked pretty dang well so far.
What a dreadful situation we're in. X, explain it once. So, you passed out, huh? Let's save the chit-chat for...
Let's save the chit-chat for later. I smell a snowstorm brewing. We need to find shelter, quick.
Suppose you're right. As for X, should we even bother bringing that wretch along?
Don't worry about X. One wrong move and they're all heading straight onto one of my unbreakable fleabag chokeholds.
Almost forgot. Oh, no! Here, grab my arm, Check. We'll get through this together. Strong Dog and Kitten Princess joined your party. I think that's where we'll save it. And definitely going to be finishing this. Ah, look at my face! That's great. And we'll do your gachapon and your movie game. What? That was weird. Okay. Okay, we're halfway through the achievement, so we still have a whole lot left to go. We have Act 3. I think that might be the last act, though. I'm trying to see. Seeing if there's an Act 4. So no, there's one act left, and we'll definitely do that on the next Wake with Nate. because that was great. I can't believe how much I enjoyed that game. Wow, some twists and turns, but all in all, a blast of a time. So let's do movie and gachapon, and then we'll call it a day. We'll go find somebody to raid. All right, gachapon. Zando, trivia or mystery? I have an extra ticket for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 tonight at 6:30. Want to come? You have to leave 6 hours ago. For real. Yep. Trivia, you got it. All right, your trivia, Zando. What type of sporting equipment has a head, face, heel, and toe? What type of sporting equipment has a head, face, heel, and toe? And your movie game. Tourist from the United States endures an incredibly painful transition into a moon-influenced creature of the night that travels through a wormhole to meet a dude wearing a metallic bunny mask. Nice. Not a horse. Tourist from the United States endures an incredibly painful transition. Wow, American Werewolf into Londani Darko. That's correct. I'll be back again. This is fun. May even sign up for a coffee chat with you soon. John, please do. I'd love to talk to you and get to know you better. We will have a big stream tomorrow. Huge stream tomorrow. Checkathon from 4 until midnight. I will not have this cowlick. That's driving me crazy right now. And we should have a great time. We'll be raising money for Crossfire Faith in Gaming's. No idea on that trivia, even though I'm a huge sports guy. It's golf. Golf. Head, face, heel, and toe. I believe it's the golf club. It just says golf, but I believe it's a golf club. It just says golf. It just says golf. I think it's talking about a golf club. I don't make the trivia. I really don't. And I don't like the trivia, and I definitely don't like the mysteries. Okay, we're going to go raid Leah Fireheart, I think is what it was. Leah Fireheart doing some Stardew crafting. Leah Fireheart doing some Stardew crafting. Folks, we are Checkpoint Church. We are really a church. I'm Nerd Pastor, and I'm really the pastor of this community. We believe 3 things to be true about every single one of you watching. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you, like really, really love you, want community with you. Number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it, folks. If you would, just like Trombone just did, if you are a follower of the channel, you have these static emotes. If you are a subscriber, you have these animated emotes. If you would go drop a bunch of you matters in Leah Fireheart's chat to let her and her community know that they do indeed matter. Folks, tomorrow, 4 p.m. until midnight, the Checkathon for Crossfire Faith and Gaming Crossfire Camp in July. We're going to try to raise $700 for 2 campers to go on our dime as Checkpoint Church to perhaps the first ever nerdy gaming camp as far as I know of it. So should be a great time. I look forward to doing that tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of great time, a lot of great antics, and I look forward to seeing you then. With that, please do go share some love, some you matters. Until next time, folks, be well. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And almost there. 2, 1. Bye-bye.